Morning, everyone. Morning. How's it going? Hope you're doing good. Maybe some of you caught some moves overnight. Maybe some of you caught that long yesterday afternoon after we got off stream, after it held, just a slow grind back. A warning today, all right? FOMC coming this afternoon and MAG earnings coming tonight, all right? So what is my expectation of the day? I'm going to make it very simple. Not a lot. All right, unless they're going to position very, very early. I would imagine they're already positioned for all these moves. But, you know, sometimes we get moves in the morning, but more often than not, we don't do a lot. And the daily and the hourly are kind of setting up that way at the moment. So I would say lower your expectations. The next 48 hours is very, very important for the market. I would say after these 48 hours, we have some much cleaner moves. But either way, we'll go through where we're at. Overall, we're bullish. All right. Overall trend remains bullish. Big move up, holding old highs at the moment. And we had a pullback day yesterday after creating that inside bar and that top. All right. What we're watching here is very clearly is basically Friday's low. All right. Friday's low right here versus yesterday's low. And we are currently opening up inside right at the 5-day. All right. So first signals here are for a very, very choppy day to start with. We move into the hourly. Move this up. Right, you can see we're trading inside of previous day's value. It's hard to see here, but previous day's value area high is right here. Previous day point of control, previous day value area low. So currently, well, we're actually trying to trade outside of it at the moment, but this is previous day's value. All right, we know in here, we put in that relief pattern here. All right, so you can see this node here versus this node here, thin in between. All right, so I am sort of expecting us to fill this out in here a little bit at the moment, which, by the way, is what we did overnight. All right, so these are kind of the edges, like, do we find acceptance over the 350s? Can we get up to the 440s, let's call it? Do we find acceptance underneath the 150s? Can we get down to the low side? Otherwise, this is my expectation. And we can do this all day, quite literally all day. You know, what are we expecting from Powell? No cuts. What's going to matter? Tone. This is his last ever speech before they're going to remove him and he gets changed to someone else. Like, what's the tone? Are we overall hawkish? Is there like we're worried about credit? We haven't yet been able to see the cause of the oil spikes in inflation. That's going to start to show itself in the next few months. Or, you know, we feel quietly confident. Labour market's holding up really well. GDP looks good. You know, it's all going to be on the tone. All right, and then after we get the tone, we're going to have to wait for MAG earnings, and who bloody knows how much of that has been priced in. All right, we have some huge moves coming today at the bell today. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, Ford, Qualcomm, those are the big ones. But Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, right? 4 of the big 7 at the bell. That's where the eyes are going to be today. Right, let's have a look at what we did overnight. Not a whole lot. Okay, not a whole lot. We came back to test this pivot. Remember, we broke down from here yesterday. This is why we're looking at short opportunities for the retest yesterday down to here. Here's our consolidation. There's the 3-drive attempt. There's the break back out to the upside. Remember, they couldn't get back under. I think their number is 0.25. Right, shorts were stuck under 25s, and we get relief, and we come right back to this pivot, and we're now trading between these two pivots where we broke out and held, where we failed. Here's your chop zone. All right, so if you're a range trader, maybe you want to be playing the range of this. All right, as we know, Alex doesn't like trading range, but the range would be here. An overnight range even tighter, 215s to 275s. If you're going to wait for the extremes, you can wait for value area low from yesterday and this high volume node for options traders. All right, that would be your extreme down here, which is also trend line, by the way. And the extreme upside would be right up here right now, 470. All right, so I think we do get these moves today, but probably on FOMC and earnings, that's probably where we go to, those extremes. But we're just going to have to see how we line up, folks, all right, as we get through the day. I'm not in a hurry here. even less of a hurry than yesterday. I will tell you now, my stats of trading FOMC are not the best. All right, so I tend to size down or leave it alone. All right, you can see overnight, this is our overnight range. So we're coming down to the bottom side of this range now, having failed point of control, and probably find a bid here and come up to it as we get onto that market on open print. All right, ES is the same kind of story. I'm going to zoom this out. Let's just move to a 5-minute. All right, we came right back down. If we just think about this simply, all right, low volume node under here. Here's your chop zone, high volume node. So yesterday we failed. We came right back down into where we found support numerous times. We push up, we fail the pivot, we come down to support, we hold support, we push up overnight, we come into the pivot. We're now down to the midpoint. That looks fun, doesn't it? No, thank you. All right, like I said, if you're a range trader, maybe that's a bit of you. For me, definitely not a bit of me. I try and avoid that. But this is your chop zone in here. Underneath this, weakness or look below and fail. Over this, strength or look above and fail. All right, these are the edges that you want to be taking note of. In terms of gamma, you're right on the high volume node. You're going to open up on VWAP and the high volume node. We get very nasty around here, not directional, nasty. All right, while they make their decision, be aware of that. I don't want you guys to blow your accounts today. All right, so many people will over leverage today. Oh, it's FOMC, I'm going to make lots of money. No, we're not into a phase of FOMC. Some of you would have only started trading since we watched FOMC. No one used to care about FOMC. The reason we care about it more recently is because we're going into rate cut cycles and rate hike cycles, and then back into rate cut cycles, possibly. All right, that's been the rhetoric since COVID. Once this starts to flatten out, you'll watch it less and less. All right, spiders, same story. All right, again, divergence to this high volume node. All right, remember ES opening on it, spiders have it lower. All right, so we'll be watching that. We are slightly gapping down at the moment. Do they hold this move here for the move back up, the 710s? If they see weakness under this and there's a collapse, you can see that they've priced this move back in to these lows at the moment. So we are starting to see breakout, pullback. If we get weak under here, it makes sense to come to the other side of this range on the SPY. So it's worth watching this morning, that 710 level, if they let it go or not. Qs, it's same kind of story here. All right, Mr. High Volume Nodes, way down here, right, where we found a bid yesterday. So again, same story, we zoom out, there's your RBS zone, resistance becomes support, we dunk under it, there's your look below and fail, we've reclaimed it, here's the edge, all right? That's your trade at the moment. This is your block 60s to 57s, basically. That's your range. Acceptance over this, push, look above and fail, failure. Acceptance below this, right, be a giant build out to wash back down into these. Otherwise, look below and fail back inside. Those are your edges. Those are probably what you need to watch this morning. Right, VIX still coming back down into these 18s. Same story, right? Nothing's changed. 18, 19s, and 20s has been the level for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, the last couple of weeks. We are starting to pull back into this little pivot where we had that gap from Friday to Monday a couple of weeks ago. We've filled that in now. We'll just see. It's likely to be volatile today as we get through the day, probably not early on. Right, Apple. These are the ones that matter, all right? The ones with earnings tonight. Gapping down on Apple again. Where are we though? Zoom out. All right, we've built a range. We've had a look above and fail. We came up to the top side. We're coming back down to this bottom side. This is your edge and your edge. All right, if Apple starts to lose the bid under 65, we're going to come back down into the next block. Okay, at the moment, range. All right, until we get through the earnings tonight. Amazon coming back into this edge here. All right, this still looks pretty bullish overall, doesn't it? That's pretty good. All right, so can they find a bid here to go? Otherwise, they lose 55s, and I think you see 45s. So that's the story right now on Amazon. Amazon also slight gap down here this morning, but opening up inside yesterday's bar, so choppy. Goog opening up inside yesterday's bar, slight gap down. If we start to stay heavy versus 46 and that gap, you can see these pivots, but really it can fill this in if it wants to. All right, this is very, very possible, as is this all the way down here. So we'll have to see, like, Goog needs to really do one of these to get going today. Otherwise, inside bar and a break outside, likely come and visit this node. Meta. All right, outside bar, yes, outside bar. All right, versus here. Meta's the one struggling. No, that's a lie. Versus here. Sorry, I was looking at the one before. Inside bar again. All right, so are we going to revisit this? Here's most of the range. We're starting to reject this range from sort of Fridays. So if they start to roll over on Meta, you've got a deeper pullback into these sort of 55s to 60s. Gapping down very, very slightly there on Meta as well. Microsoft, we can load it. Inside bar as well. All right, there's your inside yesterday. Failing to break the high, coming back down inside. If we zoom out, this looks like Apple. Giant range. Look below and fail. Look above and fail. Chop. All right, while they build it out. Nvidia. All right, put in a peak high formation Monday morning. We haven't got back to that yet. All right, we've had the W shape down here, just like the Qs. All right, are they willing to hold this? Can they get back to that peak high formation? You can see 215 is a big call right now. So if a morning drive fails 215, I wouldn't be surprised to see this come right back in. All right, if they reclaim 215 and chips find a bid again today, then we've probably got new all-time highs again on Nvidia. Tesla, sideways again. All right, this one's had some weakness. We caught the bid but couldn't reclaim the 400s, right? Failed 400s, certainly didn't get anywhere near 420s, and we go sideways again. Another inside bar open, and we've been here for about a week now. We just looked at some of the broader names. Oracle, remember, sold off yesterday on that news. All right, let's see if it catches a bid here and comes back upside, or if we're going to get a rollover. This will probably depend on the earnings of the mag. You know, a lot is going to be on guidance of these mag. Remember, software, we've been long software because it's had weakness. We've had the relief though, right? We've had the relief. Are they willing to hold this to do the second leg, or are we going to go straight back in here? This is going to depend on the mag names now. The earnings this year are going to be very, very, very important for forward PE ratio. AMD, remember I sold up here. I've got a tiny piece left. We're coming back down to earth like we talked about. Highly probable to come back down to earth given that move. So we are seeing some of these names come back in a little bit. We'll see if they hold these island highs or not. It doesn't look like it. It looks like we're going to trade back down. Same with Netflix coming right back in. I'm starting to put my interest because we're in this undercut level. So remember, I'm interested how we act in here. Remember, I've been long here, selling a piece up here, waiting to see if we come back in and hold for a reload or not. Hood weak on earnings yesterday. That's down about 10% today, back down into this pocket. Remember, we were still long in here, sold some. We'll wait to see if they're willing to hold it or not. Again, so many of these software names are going to wait to see what the market leaders start to do. We've seen weakness in like quantum this week. I'm waiting to see if this comes back in and holds a bid. I'm trying to get through this week. I want to get through this week and just see how we act with a lot of these names that are sort of AI based in this AI mania, let's call it. So we'll just see. We need to get through earnings. Oh God, that's the wrong one. We need to get through earnings today, so we've got a good indication of the breadth of the market, whether we're going to rotate back into tech or not, or whether that rotation we've seen has all been priced in and we're going to go for a cool off. So lots to play for today, folks. Not to play for today. Lots of data to come today, which will give us an indication of maybe what next month is going to look like as we come towards the end of this month. So today and tomorrow, very, very key. All right, let's see how we go here. I'm really not in a hurry here. I'm expecting a lot of sideways action here this morning. So I'm not looking to really to poke and push buttons. Let's just see, make sure I've got everything lined up. Let's see how we go. So opening up towards value area low, right here of Globex. We can remove that and we get a new one on the moment we open. So 5 seconds here, folks, and we see how we act. There we go. Coming back into this previous day point of control. All of the mag opening up heavy right now. Here's the gap fill about to be filled already. There's your previous day point of control. Now how we act here becomes important. Are they willing to hold this bid here? This grey box, this previous day point of control and the gap fill, or are we going to start to sell through it? So there's your gap fill. Now tagged. ES. My screen on ES. ES are opening up well under its gap already. Okay, weakness in this market, back down to VWAP. All right, if we start to lose these bids and stay heavy here, there's a rotation back down to previous day value area low. Hopefully we will just see if this can pop up and start to fail, PDC and VPOC. Any pops that start to fail, we can start to get heavy here. So I want to see how we act in here right now. If we reclaim this, this is just like a little sweep back down to current week's value area low, and we come right back inside. So I'm watching the H1 still. This can be a pullback that hold, so I'm not like super keen to press buttons right now. I want to see how we act on this drive right here after that morning sell. So there's the poke back into PDC. Man, this tape is moving very, very wonky. Popping a lot of stops here. I'm trying to see if I can get a sell here if we pop and fail. Zoom this Bookmap in, or Bookmap's now frozen on me as well, just to make it fun. Thanks, Bookmap. Come on, Bookmap. Well, I'm blind right now. Sorry, folks. If you can see above me, Bookmap's frozen. There we go. It's moving around now. Can we get actual data though, please? That was probably the pop and fail into PDC, but I'm currently blind, so cannot trade this. But that was probably the pop and fail that we were looking for. And if you're in this short, you want to be covering some into VWAP here and then looking for the extension down to previous day value. I'm going to have to close Bookmap here. It's completely gone down. God damn it. Yeah, it's gone. Jesus Christ, man. Fun being a retail trader, isn't it? Sorry, folks, you're going to have to give me a minute to just get the task manager up. Well, that was the opportunity. All right, that was it. This is your sell opportunity. Under the grey box, versus PDC. This is it here. You've built it out now. This is the move. Partial one, and then see if you can get down in there. I've obviously missed it because I feel like I'm always trading blind when I don't have Bookmap up and it freezes on me, but here you go. This is looking good now. This is very slow to open Bookmap. Anyone else having issues? Do they have a connection issue to CME right now? Here we go, starting to come through now. Wait for this to load up. Here we go. There we go. We're back. We're back, folks. All right, you still look good to me. Some bids here at 130s. So we need to come and clear out for those of you who are short. I've missed the trade now, unfortunately. That was the trade. It was like a 170 down towards 135, and then to see if there's acceptance lower. There is lots of liquidity under 130 right now, down to the 100. So we're watching this H1 again. Oh, to be a retail trader. But here we go. The H1's starting to roll over. You're starting to lose this node. All right, so we can think about repricing this thin node here. So it depends if we can find acceptance down here. Your next cover points will be into previous day value area low, previous week value area high. Remember, 0.25 yesterday is the big level. You look good here. So they're going to clean out this liquidity we just talked about. There you go. Really, really good. Really, really, really good clean out here. So I'd be moving my stop down now. I wouldn't want this back above 60s now if I was you. That's where the last big seller came in. Am I buying here? No, I'm not buying here. Why would I be buying here? Not right now. Momentum's downside. We're underneath both VWAPs. We're underneath PDC. We're underneath the volume for the day. We're underneath overnight's volume. We're trading back down to yesterday's lows and value area low. So we don't buy until we reclaim levels and we see some bids come in and sellers get trapped. That's not what we're seeing right now. We're seeing pops be sold. We're seeing pops get sold for now. If and when that changes, we'll think about going the other way, but it's not what we're seeing. So if we reclaim PDC and point of control and leave sellers trapped, then we can think about the longs. We don't think about it beforehand. ES rejecting VWAP here. You're into that 170 on the spiders, right? The option level. You're finding a bid on that option level. Big, big option level on the spiders. So spiders are equivalently into this already. So again, divergence of where they're placing these walls in the options market. All right, back into these 170s now for you guys. So 710 held there on the spiders, big, big level. I will also say the ETFs are completely out of alignment in terms of the options levels with the futures markets today. All right, here's the bid. So if they are willing to now hold, it's a big if they're willing to now hold, there can be a bid back up to here. All right, again, zoom out. We're into sort of choppy territory here. You want to be careful. It's FOMC day. There'll be some early positioning, both for FOMC and for earnings. That's 710, a big level on SPY, for sure. All right, they're holding this bid for now. Zoom this in a bit. So the next target, if they can hold above these sort of 70s, will be this lift. I would say it's actually above 60s. 60s is the level. Like I said, if I was you, I would have moved my stop to 60s. That's where the big seller came in. So they're lifting towards these imbalances now from that morning sell, which we're starting to get into here. So 60s is the level bulls will want to protect. Here we come. We're coming down to 60. If they lose 60s, you probably go back down towards the lows. This is the battle here. We're going to chop around today. If we lose 60s, lows. If we hold 60s, bids will try and form here to protect. So starting to see this move into 60s here. Big, big level. Why the 60s? It's just where that seller came in. There you go. Good protection of the 60s. So they're leaving sellers caught at 60s and 40s and below right now. So bulls stepping in here, trying to get the lift back towards that New York Open. That 60s was the level. I think this might swirl around a bit. Buyers taking control here over 160 though, like we said. They're trying to get the push back up. But that 160 has to be a hard out. You lose that, you flush 40s very, very quickly, I would say. Like I said, I think today will be a choppy market, given what we've seen. And it's my least favorite day to trade. No, I'm not in the trade now. I'm waiting. I'm going to give it a bit more time. Settle down. All of the mag very heavy this morning. Good hold of 60. So if they break here, your next target, for those of you who are long 160s, right, it'll be up here. This block, then this, then this. All right, there's your good hold of 160. There's your flag. Now you're looking to get to the New York Open. You want to be taking some profits into this New York Open push and then previous day value area high. Really good. I've joined a little piece of this now as we move up. I'm going to trim some as we get into these orders here, stacking at 200 to make sure I've paid myself. Lots of sellers here, 190 to 205s right now. We'd like to see us just clean those guys out, the same as we did to the downside at 35s. We want ES to hold this bid at VWAP as well to help us. And if we can get up, here we go. Let's go and clean these guys out all the way up to 205 would be ideal. No, getting a little bit stuck. Right, I paid myself a bit there as they refreshed. I still think we got to clear out to 205s. We're building like a micro flag on the tick chart. It's just whether they can get going. No, sellers rushing in. So I'm watching these 75s. I'd like 75s to hold here. Otherwise, we revisit that 160 again. Good hold of VWAP on ES. That's good. We need SPY to get back up as well. So divergence between the ETFs right now and the futures markets. Not unsurprising on FOMC day. Here we go. They're trying to clear out 95 to 205. Let's go. So going to take some off. We have a little imbalance into 201. Moving my stop up into the money. I'm just scalping. Like I said, I am small size today. These are like some of my worst days to trade. I'm aware of that with my stats. So I'm scalping short. I've already hit my Lucid target for the day. So that's day 3, 2 or 3. I'm not sure. I have to check towards the 5 to take another $2,000 out this Friday or next Monday. All right, 260, 160 is the level. Ideally, they hold the 175s. I don't think I'll hold back down to 160. I'll probably cut, and I can always re-add if they're going to firm up. But I want to be really careful because we're trading back and forwards in range. If we lose 160s, we can come diving straight back down. This can be a giant flag that fails. When to enter, 160 was probably the best entry point. I didn't enter until 75s. I wait to see a little reclaim of 75s for this candle here and entered and just scalped this long for like 20 points and just holding small size now to see if we can get up to New York Open and then up to 230. But if we keep failing here, you want to be careful. All right, if they start to lose 75s, all right, we'll come back down to the 160s. If we lose 160s, we probably break down towards the lows, back down to 140. So 75, 60, 140. Those are the levels downside at the moment. This is good from bulls. This looks good now. So they're trying to clear out towards the 205s. This is what I was looking for before. So into the 200s, there is excess up to 205s. Then we can get going to 235s. And I'm scalping today, folks, while we're in the range. I'm not looking for the big 100, 200 point trades like we normally do. Not in the morning of FOMC. ES failing, VWAP here. SPY not even at its VWAP. QQQ at its VWAP. Yeah, big divergence between the ETFs and the market today in terms of VWAP and everything. Need to be aware of it. Watching these cash markets. So if SPY loses that 710, we probably get a major flush on this market. If it loses 710 here on this trade back down. Big level for the spiders. Bro, I would love if you give me a proper entry and a stop loss. I'd love it if you could just make me millions as well, mate. We were short, under here, towards here, holding runners. We were long, over 160. Remember? 160. That entry, 160. There's your entry, 160. 160. Remember I said it has to hold 175? There you go. 175. What else do you want? 175. Oh, what did we just hold? 175. See that? 175 I've said about 5 times on stream? Fuck me. You're already starting today, eh, chat? Right, divergence to the spiders. This 710 on SPY is key. If they lose 710, this market probably rolls with it. Amazon's gone red to green. Rest of the market remains heavy. So back to these 75s, which is the key level. They lose the 75s, they go 160. They lose 160, they go 140. They lose 140, you get a break of low of day. SPY now under the 710. You're seeing weakness enter the market here. So 710 is the under over. Here comes the flush. So 75 to 160, probable now for the flush. Here comes the 75 to 160. Oh, look, 160 is coming. Please give me a proper entry. Okay, watching spiders at 710s, weakness under 710s. If they stay heavy at 710s, you'll probably get a rotation in the queues. The next level for SPY would be 709.27, previous day lows. So here's the move from 175 to 160. Oh. Okay, if you lose 160, bears will try and force the move down to 140. Here we go. It's a big level here. Sellers this morning came in at 160s and 140s, right? That's what we're watching. Sellers this morning came in at 160s and 140s. Here comes a big buyer, market buyer here. So we know this is a battle here at VPOC for this session. Okay, we failed this imbalance. They had a chance to lift, couldn't quite lift. We lose the pivot and we're coming right back down inside the chop, which is what we expect today. ES is trying to backtest, or SPY is trying to backtest that 171, the 710 now. If it reclaims 710, it's a look below and fail. This is why we have to be aware of what's going on. It's a big level. If you're looking over at the spiders right now, this is absolutely massive. This is like the options market dictating what might happen. They are placing their hedges for today. All right, 710s is the level. Look, this is the high volume node. There's the look below and fail. If they start to reclaim this, all right, on the SPY, then they're trying to do this. If they keep rejecting here, like I said, 708s or whatever it was, 709s, this is the next level down. So there's a battle here, and it's likely to chop today. Remember, we said we're likely to chop today. It's FOMC. We are very likely to chop today. Oh, I'm good. Thanks, darling. Yeah, love you. Scalping is the only game that will win today. Exactly. That's what I said. I'm not looking for the 100 to 200 point trades that we normally look for. We have to just simplify it today, take what's available if we're going to trade a tool, because if we just zoom out, we have to remember where we are. All right. We are in between these levels here right now. All right, like I said, we are probably going to fill some of this in. Well, guess what? We are filling this in. All right, there's the thick nodes, here's the thin nodes, here's the chop, while they try and fill this in. Normally we would slice through these quickly, but because it's FOMC, they're going to keep us pinned. I would imagine they're going to build out a ton of liquidity so that when we get the print, which is probably going to be no cuts, 99.9% sure it's no cuts, they will move it on that anyway, and then they'll wait for the speech to see if he leaves Trump with any goodies, given the battle that they've had over the years, and then we get into earnings. Great scalping, bro. Thanks. Yeah, hopefully made a bit of money. I mean, I'm small size today, like I said. This is me for the day. This is a small day for me, but remember my Lucid account, I only need to make 150 each day right now, and I take more payouts. So there we go. That's me done for the day at the moment until we set up the next move. But again, we held 60s, we've reclaimed 75s. They'll go for the New York Open. They'll go upside if ES can stay over this big level, if SPY can hold 710s. We're there or thereabouts. It's very sensitive as they diverge. Google gone red to green, Amazon gone red to green. So I'll give you a readout. Tesla, 1/3% down. Nvidia, 1.08% down. Microsoft, 1.15% down. Meta, 0.57% down. Google, 0.28% up. Amazon, 0.45% up. Apple, 0.5% down. GC not having the best days, is it not? Is there a... Let's have a look. It's getting slammed. It's getting slammed. But it's only into these pivots. But failing here, like I said, we talked about this a while ago. There's your pivot. Walk up. Buyers trapped up here. Sell back down, probably to where the sellers are trapped. And we create range here for a while till they make that next move. You got to zoom out on these, especially in the metals. You know, they can take months and months and months to consolidate before they do a move. All right, this move now finally up towards this New York Open. ES back over that big pivot. Same on the SPY, back over to 710. There's your New York Open. So if you took the reclaim of 75 or the hold of 60s, right, reclaim of 60s, here's your move up. Your next target is these 230s, right? Previous day value area high, VWAP, everything above. There's liquidity sat above here. You probably get a swipe above here. Here you go. Here's the swipe for you. So if I wasn't watching GC, I probably would have just scalped this long from 75 up to here. Here's your TP. So I'll be locking some in if you did take this long for this move back up. And reclaim here, then your next leg up is 65. But you want to just be scalping your way through this session right now. What I think is going to happen in FOMC, I think it's going to be a bit of a nothing burger. There's going to be no rate cuts. I have no idea what he's going to say, and that's what matters. All right, if you're bullish on this, you will want this pullback to hold 95s here. Has to hold this. Otherwise, back into range, sweep all these stops, and we come right back down. So bulls need to hold top of this to do this. Otherwise, after sweeping this, if we lose this, we come right back down and chop all this again. Yeah, I think it would be a nothing burger. Like there won't be a hike. I'm not going to say there won't. It's very unlikely that there's a hike or a cut, and it's all going to be on tone. The questions are all going to be about oil, inflation, energy, and that rolling over into goods. All right. So normally when we get spikes in oil and energy, it's a matter of time until we see that sort of spike prices into food and stuff like that. So that will be the main thing, and Hill will probably say, look, we need to wait for CPI data. It's going to take anywhere from 2 to 6 months for that to show, and as we know, he won't be here for that, so who knows. What normally moves with more strength, absorption or rejection? Those are the same things. There's just a different player. All right. If you think about what this is, this would be a passive seller up here. Think about it, what this is a passive buyer down here. They're the same thing. Just depends what side of the trade you're on. And the chop continues. VIX holding above the 18s, printing upside. 710 still the level on the SPY, but we can't get a 5-minute close above VWAP right now on SPY. That's pretty telling. ES has got a move above VWAP here. So again, divergence between the two. Do I watch footprint a lot before I make a decision? Yeah, I'd say what I'm really looking at, I'll wait for us to come into key levels, then I'm looking at Bookmap, and then I'm probably looking at footprint. Oh, nice. My flat is now officially up for sale in London. Let's see if we can shift it early. And then I can be a cash buyer in Austin. That would be nice. All right, there's your target. So 75 held. Here's your target, VWAP and previous day value area high. ES now getting going as well. So you can just try and hold on to these. Those who took the longs for the hold down here. All right, remember we said, I can't even remember now, 75, 60, 45, I think it was. Right, there's the pivot and hold. All right, think about your structure. Think about your structure here. All right, hold, break, hold, targets. All right, and if we're going to use this liquidity, we can try and run these guys. Let's have a look left. We have got room to come up into here if they get going this morning. But again, I would not be looking for your 100, 200 point traders with size today. All right, you can try and hold runners for them, small size, but I'd be very, very aware that this market probably rotates today, I would say, in the morning session. Do I think AI will replace traders? No, I do not. I do not, because trades come from inefficiencies, right? So they will know that. And we have a lot of AI running the markets already, like the high frequency trading and stuff like that. I don't think ultimately it will replace every trader. Please read my comment above. Let me try and find it. I mean, there's a lot here. I really need some help with my life. Last year I made 80k in payouts. This year I lost 20k and I made 10k this month. I work overnight shift and trade the AM. Should I quit my job? No. You should not quit your job. You've already basically said that you're not consistent there. Why would you be quitting your job? If you quit your job and you're already, what you just put in that message, if we sum it up, is fear, right? I did well last year. I'm not doing well this year. I'm struggling. Shall I quit my job? No. Imagine the amount of pressure you are going to add on yourself if your sole income becomes from trading when you're yet to be fully consistent. Do not be quitting your job to do that. The amount of pressure, you will fluff your lines. I promise you. You'll oversize, blow up, get very upset about it, do the same over and over again, or you'll undersize out of fear after you've already blown up and then not make enough money. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. I know it's tough, but you need to find balance. All right, ES into its New York Open, nice drive. So that look below and fail of the 710s on SPY worked well. You're now just looking for this upside lift up here. All right, so you've hit your main target, previous day value area high. If we're able to base above this, remember if we're trading currently inside yesterday's range. This is yesterday's range. All right, we looked below here. We reclaimed this big block, which was important. We held it. We've come to the top of yesterday's range. If we base above this, we can move value higher for the day. Right, but this is a big level right now. So you should be down to small size here. Right, you should have, if you longed this or this, you should be down to small size here. Thoughts on crude? Let me have a look for you. I mean, it's got liquidity up here at 105.70 or whatever it is, 67. This is like to the top side of the range. So if you ignore that look above and fail from early April, this is the top side of the range. So what we're really asking the question on crude now is, can we break this 105.67s and base above it? And if the answer to that is yes, then I think you see new highs. Not today, but if the answer to that is yes in general, if we can base above, let's just call it 106. If we can break and base above that, you probably see new highs. Not today, it will take time. But the 5 days now crossing the 20-day, we're correctly stacked above the 50-day. You know, it looks strong. If we sweep the 106s though and come back into the range, it might be game over for it. That's my thoughts on crude. How do I deal with back pain as a trader? Well, I do a lot of rehab. My back pain doesn't come from trading. It comes from years of playing rugby. Right, you can see we're getting stuck up here at the 24-hour view up and previous day's value area high. This is, remember, this currently is premium price from yesterday. This is discount price. This is where we would have liked to trade into and rebid. This is fair value. So we held fair value. We've come into premium from yesterday. Right, be careful. If they can't hold above premium to extend premium, we rotate back in again. And like I said, and have maintained, we're likely to be choppy in this session. We are likely to trap traders who are late to pull triggers for later. What time's FOMC? I think the print's at 2 and then power start talking at 2:30, probably till 3:30. It's normally about an hour, and then you get half an hour. And then as soon as the bell goes, you've got 4 of the Mag 7. My opinion, my honest opinion, today is not a day to be risk on. That might go against what all the other guys on YouTube tell you. They'll probably tell you, hey, FOMC, let's send 30 accounts and see if we can pass it in one go and yada, yada, yada. I don't think today's a day to go risk on. I would say the smart money has been positioning for the last few weeks. Okay, their exit will probably come at 2, 2:30, 4 to 5 o'clock. They'll get their exits on what they want. The true move will come tomorrow. That's my opinion. The cleaner move will start developing tomorrow, maybe even the day after, as we've also got earnings tomorrow night. Will I be live during FOMC? No. Honestly, I think it would be a dud, guys. I think there might be some moves, but why? I'm trying to think about this. How I'm going to explain it. Why would I try and compete? This is how I think about it, which is probably different to everyone else. Why am I trying to compete with a news algo? I can't compete with a high frequency trading news algo. Earnings tonight have more of an impact than FOMC. Yeah, I agree. But the question for me is, are we going to sell the news? For example, right? We're failing. Look, we're failing value. We're back down to fair value on the day and fair value from yesterday here. All right, so we're failing premium price. This is why this was the target. And we're already coming straight back down. Here's your range from yesterday. Remember, this is your range from yesterday. All right, and this is your mid or your fair value. My question that I would pose on these names is, have we priced it in? Have we? This is clearly risk on. Have we priced it in? All right, is it a sell the news? And then a read it buy. Have we priced it in? Have we priced it in? Have we priced it in? That's the weaker one. That's the one that I'm most interested in. I know it's been getting hammered, but we can see it's holding this block. If they're willing to hold here, but if we lose this, it's 9-9. Yeah, that's where my head's at. How much of this are we going to see a sell the news event tonight or not? Or do they have absolute blowout earnings? And also, how do we navigate the guidance on each of these? You know, with the AI cap spend, do they freak out, right? Like we did 3 months ago, 6 months ago, which caused this giant pullback, or the market got used to it now and being like, hey, it's starting to see a proven model. We don't mind the capex spend in this. Who is this guy? You're getting removed. What is wrong with you, man? I let you do it the first time round, but thanks, Miguel, for doing that. I'm going to put them on timeout. You get 24 hours for that. That was so over the top. What's your number one rule to stay consistently profitable? It's funny, someone emailed me or messaged me basically about that this morning. It's picking one trade. Honestly, it's picking one trade and picking one market. A friend of mine, Eduardo, did a podcast maybe this week or last week on Chat with Traders. Chat with Traders, I don't want to badmouth them. Chat with Traders have finally got a host I can listen to, because I'm really struggling. Sorry, Tess, if you're here, but I really struggled with the previous two hosts since Aaron. I couldn't do it. But the new host I enjoyed, and I had a friend of mine on the show, and I thought Eduardo Trades, if anyone trades small caps, you'll know him, summed it up perfectly. You got to know your A+ setup, and you got to know the environment which suits you. How many times do you hear me sit on stream being like, I don't trade range? I do my best to avoid trading range. How many times do you hear me say that? A lot, right? A lot. Why? Because my profit factor goes up when I leave alone what I'm shit at, right? And that's even as an experienced trader. I don't really like trading range. I don't mind if it's big range and we're seeing failures to trade inside, sure. But when we're just doing chop back and forwards, I try and ignore it, right? I try my best to ignore it because I know my strengths come from failed follow-throughs or sustained momentum. Those are really the same thing, just the trigger is different, right? So like if I was going to draw this, right, where I like it, let's see, we have supply up here and we trade up and we see a blow off and then, right, sure, I will trade short here and I would call this failed follow-through, right? Or, right, we have supply up here, supply up here, breakout pullback, momentum, sure, I'll trade that as well, right? But I try and ignore this stage of the market, right? Try and ignore this. This is something I'd look at, right? Look below and fail, but actually in here, I try and ignore it. What does that mean? It means I'm sticking to trades where I feel like I have more defined edge to trade with, where I feel like I have a better profit factor, where I trade better, where I execute better, where I feel more confident. And that means I start having bigger days. If I mess that up, don't stick to that rules, probably find that I lack consistency. So another way to put that, like I always talk about it, don't I? Golf is not a game of perfect, right? When you start playing golf, get around the golf course with your 8-iron. Don't get your driver out. You're not good enough to get a driver out. So, you know, when you're starting to trade, right, get around the course, play in the opening range, wait for a break and hold of the opening range. We haven't had it yet today. Why? Because we expect chop today. Why? Because we're an inside bar. Why? Because it's FOMC. Why? Because we're inside a value. We went over all this stuff yesterday, didn't we? When do we expect chop? Inside value, inside bar on a daily, inside overnight value, right? Inside all the key levels. And the news we're waiting for later. Your driver's pretty good. Well, that's all right then. So the equivalent of that on trading would be like when if you've got a full. I don't believe, by the way, any trader has a full tool set, right? They have their favorite tools. They have their favorite clubs to get out. So it might be like a parabolic short, failing to follow through, right? That might be one. It might be an initial balance rotation. That might be two. It might be a pro trend long, a pro trend short. That might be three. And maybe for a scalp day, it might be just like a tight range rotation, 4. I don't think there's that much scope outside of that. And every trader will trade those differently. But those are kind of, you're either trading consolidation, you're trading breakout, or you're trading failed breakouts. You're trading one of those 3 setups on whatever time frame you're looking at. And it's just identifying how you're going to trade that. Why is the buy and sell signals? Well, because these are momentum, but like I always say, we don't follow momentum when we're inside, right? When we're trading inside, right? We can see we had the breakdowns, but we wouldn't be following this because we're trading inside. We're not in a momentum phase right now, right? Look at the clouds, sideways. Look at VWAPs, sideways. Look at closure. Look at point of control, Look at value area high. Look at today's value area high. Look at today's value area low. Look at, yes, we're compact, right? We don't look for momentum plays when we're tight. We look for momentum plays when we go into expansion. So we ignore these when we're tight in range. No, I'm not in a position. The positions would have been, had Bookmap worked, this, but I did grab some of this. I didn't get the whole move. I got a piece of this, and then that was it. Like I said, had my base hit. Yeah. That's my base hit. This is the main account I'm focused on. Like I said, this is the same account I did the video of last week and took the payout of last Friday. So another base hit. Right, 360. I'm up just under 12,000 on it again. So I've already made my payout back. All right, and there's no point me pushing that Lucid account right now. And I kind of posted that on Twitter or Instagram last night. You've got to understand, Lucid will only move me $8,000 on a 50k account to live, right? So if I'm up $12,000, I took $2,000 last week. All I really need to do is keep my baseline above 8,000. So let's say I get to Friday or Monday and I'm up, I don't know, 13,000. I'll take 2,000 out again, down to 11. I'll do the same next week. 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 2,000. And the week after, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150. That's the minimum. 2,000. As long as my baseline's above 8, and then they'll move me to live with that 8,000 if I get there. And maybe, I don't know if they move you live earlier. We'll just have to wait and see. Yes, Lucid will move multiple accounts to live. Absolutely. If you're scalping, do you increase your position size? No. A bit. No. I do the opposite, mate. I do the opposite. I take profits quicker and I don't use as much size. For example, yesterday, I will size up in something which is my preferred setup. So yesterday, I forget where it was, somewhere down here, I added heavy, looking for the break. So I think we got this trade here yesterday, and it might be here. One of these in here, I started short here and I added heavy here, looking for this break. All right, because this is my A+ setup. If we had let go of this yesterday and we got that continuation trade down, I wanted to be positioned heavy for it. But I tightened my risk. I don't add heavy and leave my risk up here. I move my risk down to break even so that if I'm wrong, it's not going to do damage to me. What I don't do is add heavy in a range where I'm scalping, where these are like D setups for me. I'm not great at doing these. I don't like them. So I'm not going to size big in these moves, right? What did I make here? 360 points. So we started getting long at 70s for that move to there. So there's 30 points and then a bit more here. So probably got 40 point net out of it for $300. It's like 3-4 micros, all you need for that, really. For example, first blue box T5. I don't know what. Hi, Alex. Thanks for streaming and learning. When drawing the RBS zones as the week progressed, do you delete previous RBS zones if not relevant? Having a hard time to leave what to delete. Well, if it's untested, all the time we're holding something, it's still a zone, right? And if it's untested, you don't know if it's a zone or not. So, okay, I'll give you an example. Right? This is still a zone. It's hard to see because of all the volume overlapping. But this is still a zone. Are you going to let me draw this? There we go. Right? Resistance, 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 resistance became support. We flushed under it, so what? That's an overextension. That's very common in NQ. But guess what? We then reclaimed it. Still a zone. This is still a zone up here, really. This level up here, still a zone. We move away from it. We came down to it yesterday. We can still support this. It's still relevant. This is still a zone. Look at this pivot here. Resistance, still a zone. Okay. If we flush under this, where's the next zone we're going to aim for? Well, it's probably going to be the top of this again, and then point of control, and then this. They are relevant all the time, all right? All the time. If they're higher time frame ones, they're always relevant, because even on whether they're tested or not, we think about these nodes, right? This is still relevant. We're yet to test 25,200, right? So if for some reason we went backside over the next couple months, I'll be watching for that trade into 25,200, right? And the same here. I'll be watching for these levels where we found a bid, where we broke out from. So I don't know how to explain it. They're relevant until they're not. And the only time they're not relevant doesn't mean that we've traded through it. That means it flips, right? Price gravitates to those levels. Do I draw RBS on the hourly? Yeah, I mean, I like the higher time frame levels for sure, but I'm also like intraday. Like, so you'll see me note, today's not a great example, but like this node here, you know, is starting to become important. This is our chop zone. So people like to draw out low volume nodes. How I think about it is, let's say there was a high volume node here and a high volume node here, right? If we hold this, we're bullish. If we reject this, we're bearish. And if we break above that and then hold the top of it, we're bullish again. How many minis and micros do I trade on a scalp? Just depends on the size of the account. But like I always advise, if you start with a 50K, you only need three micros is all you need, given the range. And then earn the right to size up as you move more into the money. You see the market's tightening range. They're trying to hold the New York Open now. So we just did this pullback into the 75s again, same level we talked about here, right, into the 75s, and they are trying to look for this at the moment, whether they can get it or not, because this is value from yesterday. So they're trying to look to see if they can get above premium from yesterday to come up to this call wall. There are lots of sellers here at 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, so they're looking to fill all these sellers on the lift up. That's what's happening at the moment. And ES is starting to get going. So ES is into its VWAP now. SPY comfortably through, and maybe SPY and ES can maybe close the gap upside. So we're very, very different markets right now. You see our gap was down here. ES's gap is like up here right now. Right, so that might help. If ES goes for the gap fill, might help the Qs do this move. How do I recommend to scale up into a position when you're already in? It's always in pullbacks that go in your direction. Yeah, exactly. You want to be like, if you're long, there's two ways to do it. If you're long from here, right, you can add on a break. You can add on a break or retest, or you can add on like this like pullback dip here. What you don't want to do is be buying the overextension, which is when EMAs come in useful, like these waves. Right, let's say you were short the breakdown. You add into the wave, you cover some, you add into the wave, it sets the higher low, you're done with it. Can you go long now? The longs were down here, like we talked about, the hold of 75s. I would not be longing up here now. Like the only opportunity now, you would need to see a break above and a hold up here now. You don't want to be longing where all these buyers last got stuck. You've missed the opportunity. Like 75. Look, top of the grey box. We talked about it. 75, bottom of the grey box. All right. This, now holding this. Now they need to hold this. But you're late in the day for this move. What is the grey box? It literally says above you, mate. If you read Nightbot. Okay, look, all this liquidity, 30, 35s, 40, and 50s. They're looking to fill. They just want one shove up to clean them all out. Lots of sellers just sat up here waiting to be filled at the moment. ES has done its VWAP to VWAP move. The only thing left, it's into its high volume node for the options level on ES. This is really interesting. So SPY held the lows of it. ES is trading to the top side of it. It's really interesting how different these are right now. Just checking they're all 0 DTEs. Yeah, they are. They've just positioned them very, very differently today. And VIX is right into it as well at 18, is that important level. You can see, like, I'm uninterested in this market right now. This is not a kind of market that I enjoy trading. So I'm like backing off. I'll do my best to read price and help you guys the best I can. Where would I be wary of reversals if you were long? Well, here and here. All right. Previous day's premium, we've already failed there once. All right. So this area here, if I was long, I'd be very, very concerned that the market would get stuck here. And if it breaks through here, then we have this and these stops to come for up here. And then I'd be thinking, does the market fail up there? So if I was long here, I'd be paying myself some here, and then I'd be hoping I can pay myself the rest up here. But I'd be sure to be paying myself into premium price. Your previous day point of control is set to 27,060. Mine is 27,175 basically. I mean, look, mine, like we was talking about, mine are based on New York sessions. I'm only interested in volume on New York sessions. Basically everything I do is about what's happening in New York session. I will mark out overnight session, but I don't treat it as like a one profile. Here comes the lift. So they're looking to fill these sellers at 30, 35s, 40s, and 50s. They're looking for that swipe up to fill them all. There are lots of sellers just packed here tight, but they will be looking for this swipe up to fill them all. They will not want to lose these bids at 15s. There's a buyer trying to come back in to support the tape here at 20s. They do not want to lose the 15 bid. That will be a problem for them, but they're trying to. You can see there's buyers feathering up at 20s. Here they come. There's more and more of them coming in here. So they need to support this bid and then swipe up. We can watch it on Bookmap. So here's the move back down to 15s. They will not want to lose this bid at 15s. All right, they're trying to fill all these participants up here on a swipe. Right, and the reason I'm saying 15s is where the big sellers keep coming in here. Here we go. So if they lose this, if we tap back in and lose 15s, you can see a drop back down now. So the buyers have done a lot of work here and starting to fail the 15s. Here you go. So you're starting to see this move. So if they reprice 15s now and fail, here's the 15 reprice. Right, what happens here becomes important. If sellers defend this, we move back down. If this is a little look below in a claim, we can try and squeeze. So this 15s is a big over-under here for this market. So can buyers support the bid now and come and fill? So it's a little look below. As long as 15s holds now, we should now send it up here and fill all these guys out. So a little look below, trapped and up more sellers. As long as 15s hold, they will try and clear out to the upside now. You would like to see these guys down here move up. Here's the move back into 15s. See this battle? It looks like it wants to break up here. Here come the buyers. Tape starting to flash green. Come the buyers. They're going to try and fill all these participants. So seller moving down to 25. You can see this flat shelf here. All these sellers sat here. Buyers just want one spike to sell into at the moment. Please keep Bookmap bigger more often. I do my best. Like, do you ever feel like nothing's ever good enough? Here you go. Here's the lift. So they're trying to get this breakout and fill all these sellers all the way up to 50 at the moment. That's what they're attempting to do. You can see there's a bit of a buyer stepped in at 20s now. He's trying to support the bid. What you don't want them to do is run away. They've got to keep supporting this bid and finish this rotation up if possible. Look at all these sellers here. Right, they just want one swipe. Struggling a little bit. And remember, this is previous day's value area high up here. This level here is previous day's value area high. You can see what happened last time we came here. Buyers got stuck. Right, this guy is a big lot. Got stuck. 62s, 162 lot. Here we go. So they're trying to fill and leave these buyers back in comfortability zone and start to drive. Here we go, the drive. All right, so here's the drive, and they're trying to get all the way up to 50. So this seller got stuck, this seller got stuck, this seller got stuck. Under the 15s, reclaimed 15s and go. And now can they fill all these guys all the way up towards 50? So you want to be taking some partials as you do that. Here's the 40s. Where are these stops? There are a ton of stops around 50s, guys. 52s. It's basically a flat top there from pre-market. 52s and then 62s. So that would be the target if they can get going. ES also into 24-hour VWAP, and it's 165. So a really, really big options level here. There they go. They're still trying to squeeze. This tape's going very green now. Look at all these orders, big bullish orders coming through. There's the 45s, so almost at the 50s. And remember, over, what did I just say the level was? 52s. There's a lot of stops at 52. So over 52s, you might see a bit of a swipe. If they can get over 52s, I think you can get up to the gamma level, which is 65s. Coming into 52s. If you pop 52s, there'd be a little swipe right into it. Here you go. So they've popped these now. There's a little spike up there. They should try and get you to 65 now. It'd be better if they did it in one go. Otherwise, you might have to sit through a pullback that down to 25 level. You don't really want to give that much back. But hopefully, through 52s, you just get like a little straight back up. Let me think about this now. Make it easy. Buyers want to support this, don't they? All right, sellers are stuck under here. Buyers are in control here. So they just want it. Here we go. Here's 52s. Hopefully you see a little swipe now. Come on, just swipe it up to 65s. You want to be taking profit at 65s. It's a big cool wall. You want to be locking some in. You want to be locking some in. Higher time frame algo here, and a cool wall, and ES coming in to close its gap, and SPY coming in to close its gap. Everything sort of lined up. If you're trading the QQQ, 660 is your level. You want to be paying yourself into 660. So again, remember this level here. You do not want to lose this level for buyers now. All right, this is where this was your little trap. All right, under here. Do you remember I said 15s? Because sellers kept trying to sell 15s. They dropped under, they absorbed this guy, reclaimed, held. This is the hold, and then away. You now do not want to lose 25s, right? Ideally, the lowest it goes is 25. Ideally, they hold 35s, this old pivot. All right, but you've had that little swipe now that we talked about. So I would say anything under 35s and 25s, be done with the longs. Do not hold on to it under 25 and 35. Yeah, you're coming into the cool wall. Yeah, we can show you. Right here. So think about the stops here that got popped. Think about this. This is the little trap that we just watched on Bookmap. This is the trap and go. There's the extension. This is where they're trying to go. 65s. It's where they're trying to get up to 65. So you don't want it back under the 25s. We didn't get under 25s. We held 35s. So what do we say? 35s would be an ideal hold. The top of this orange box that we came right down to it. They're trying to get up to 65s. ES is trying to close its gap. SPY is trying to close its gap. This will be a big take profit zone for you guys. Big. Don't be a dick for a tick either, right? We're sensitive. Like, we're in a range. Doesn't feel like we're in a range, but we're still in a giant range here into a low volume node on the current week's profile. We're into that pivot. If we think about it from Monday and Sunday, where we gap down, we're coming right back up towards that 300. So here we go, into towards 65. You're almost there. You're there or thereabouts. Any short trade? Not right now, my friend. All right, we're above yesterday's value. You would have to see like big expansive movement. There's the stop run. All right, so 65. So you need to be paying yourself into this. ES has almost closed its gap, and SPY's almost closed its gap. So anything above this now is a bonus. Right, that's your main move done for the day in the morning. I would say if you can keep going, 85 to 90 would be the next zone, but this is the main job. You've done the main job, right? We've done the main job, which was to hold here. I hate it when I can't draw. Oh, I've got to do it over here. There we go. Your main job was to hold here, reclaim. There's your move, right? TP1, TP2, TP3. But I'd be 80% out here, folks. Maybe even more, if I'm honest. Majority of my position would be out right now. And look, you got to look how close we are to filling the gap on the SPY. Right? Yellow line is gap fill. Very, very close. You can see them taking profits into the cash gap. Right? It matters. That level matters. right? Because if we go over that, they can maybe hold a bid. It's a big, big, big level. All right, so everything lining up there at once. Someone asked me the other day, how do we use the calls and stuff? Well, if they line up for Confluence, we can use them. This is lining up for Confluence. I didn't take that trade. No, I didn't take that trade. Like I said, I've scalped through a little bit of this session. I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I can read price really well, but like I said to you, FOMC days historically are not big winning days for me. Range trading days historically are not big winning trades for me. So I try to stick to my toolbook. While I can tell you exactly what's happening because momentum's never any different, I can read price for you. I also limit, my capital, my mental capital, how much risk I'm putting in the market. Would 400 be crazy today? For right now, it would, yeah. I mean, you'd need a breakout and a hold above those 315s. I'm not saying it doesn't come there during FOMC or during earnings, but like you're asking quite a lot of price right now. Right? Think about what we've done. Here's the node. There's our failure point. Here's our failure from it. We held dips. We've got no way of getting up here until we hold this, right? We have to hold above this. We're not even above this part yet, right? We're in, like I said, we're in this part of the range right now. We are going to rotate here, I think, all day until FOMC. Doesn't mean it doesn't come later, but right now, I wouldn't be thinking about that as a target. Initial balance set, yeah, I'd be set for the day, correct. So SPY still trying to fill its gaps. Got very, very close on that first push. It's trying to fill its gap. Here it goes. It's about to fill it. It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost there. Gap now filled on the SPY. Still not filled on the ES. About to fill it on the ES. So we're about to have an efficient market. Still not filled on ES. Still not filled on ES. Still not filled on ES. Gap now filled. All right, gap fully filled on both indexes and both ETFs now. And if they continue, if they continue, up here's the target, right? We talked about these guys here being popped. 85 to 90s will get you that lift into these next zones. But I would be 80% out my position right now. Don't think the high day's in yet. No excess up there. It's a seller up here. I think we can still move higher. 184 lot of seller up there. I think we still move higher. We might pull back first, but I don't think high day's in. There we go. There you go. There's a bit more excess. So that now the higher days with buyers in for the first time, they can actually poke through a bit more, but that's a better high now. I still think they can poke through a bit more, but we finally caught some buyers up there. Can they get a bit more excess? They're leaving some buyers at the highs. I would like to see them, like if I was going to look for the mean reversion today, you need to see them break above 81.25 where that big seller came in and leave big excess and then come back under that seller's price. How deep can the pullback go? Well, it can probably come and retest this if they do it. Right? If they fail, right, we'd need to come back under here, and we can probably maybe think about that IB trade back into this shelf. But we need to leave excess first. It's just slow grinding at the moment. Mags I haven't looked over for a minute. A lot of these mags have gone big red to green. So Tesla 0.64% down, Nvidia 0.90% down, Microsoft 0.85% down, Meta 0.19% up, Google 1.5% up, Amazon 2.29% up, Apple 0.60% down. So Google and Amazon flying right now. All right, this is better. This is better now. ES has still got targets above that it can run for. Lots of stops yet to get popped on ES. So just hold on to your runners into that next grey box if possible. Your last 20%. Almost into this grey box and Globex high above it. And then how we act up here is going to be important. Sort of 300 to 320s. Very, very, very important level, I would say. Slow grind up at the moment. So here's the 300. Like I said, 300 to 320 is probably going to be important. If we base over that, whoever just asked about that move back up to 400, that then becomes possible. But just think about where we are. We always talk about the H1. You must think about where we are on the H1. ES now finally coming up to pop some of these stops. So I wouldn't be surprised, right? In here, there's two options here. Here, we either then fail back down or we base above and we do the move to 400, the next block, right? This is the question. Why? This is the level that we broke down from yesterday, right? We're coming back up to it. So can they base above and create an SBR, or are we going to pop the stops and fail back inside? We're about to find out, folks. But you do not want to be long positioned in this grey box, as in you don't want to be a new money long in this grey box. Even if it keeps squeezing, let it squeeze out, let it come back and hold. No, the next grey box is our high volume node from the current developing week. And the next one above, right, is where is here. Right, it's POC from the developing week. So if we're going to do a second leg, that is possible. It's absolutely possible, but they're going to have to get above this, aren't they? This pivot and hold. Right, you don't want to be a new money long in the first like new attempt up here. Right, so I'd be starting to sell a little bit more of my position. For those of you who are long, I'd be selling a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more of that last 20% as this market keeps grinding up. All right, ES coming up to its 5-day through that next gamma level. What's left for it to go for? Let's see if there's any more. We're about to pop these stops into 75s on the ES. Where did the last lot of sellers come in at 80s? So they would want to support IB. If they lose IB, it's all buying above IB, basically. We're above 280. It's been all buying above 280. Delta's still very, very strong right now. We are looking a little bit extended here. So if you lose 280s, buyers will start to be stuck. So make sure you've paid yourself. And we'll see if we come right back in now or not. A little shelf developing here around the 97s. They lose the 97s, we probably, unless they trap into 93s, we probably test that 81. Sorry, I'm just looking at, I haven't looked at footprint for a while. I'm just looking where everyone is. Yeah, the 81s is a big level. It's a big level. Is selling now a good idea? Well, if you are long, yeah, you want to be taking your profits up here and just holding the tiniest amount of size. Remember, the only thing left to do now is break out and hold above this to get to 400. We're not in a short yet, though, if that's what you're asking. Look at this. Look at the difference in the trend development. Look how when we move out of chop, all right, and we start to go into trend, how much, don't lose that, how much nicer this is. And we're just straight upside now. We're squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. And we can keep going higher. You don't want to be guessing the high in this. We have not failed yet. Right? To get short, you would need something like this. Right? With like some volume left, some buyers caught up here, maybe a move under this shelf, down and check the 82s. You can take a partial, and if we lose this, we can short down into there as well. But otherwise, what is there to short right now? What are you shorting against? It's nothing right now. This shelf here becomes important. So sellers coming in here. If we start to reject 97s, there could be an argument for it. ES holding PDC as well. Still looks pretty bullish to me over there on the ES. But like I said, the big level is going to be this 81s as we come down into it. That's where the sellers last got stuck. Right, so we're leaving 97s. Do we go to 81s, or do they trap under 97s in front of 81s and reclaim 300s? I can show you what I'm thinking about is this player here. Right, this guy here is currently stuck. This is the seller that's stuck. Until we come under him, technically he's stuck, and they might want to keep lifting little traps under 95s or 97s. So I'd say 97s and 300s are very, very important right now, as is the 81s. So reclaim, there's the 300 check again. Let's move Bookmap on. There's a failure of 300 back into this low volume node. Again, these sort of 97-ish important. And I'd say these 80s are important. If we start to lose these 80s, I will think about that trade back down. So here's the test towards the 80s. There's a lot of bids down here right now. They know it's a big level, that seller's pain. So IB is going to become very, very important, I think. So hopefully you've paid yourself at that grey box like we talked about. All right, here's the key level. This is the key level. There are buyers here at 77s. So they're trying to leave this seller to stay in pain. Now the rotation here will be 81s back to sort of 96s. So they came and tested where that seller was, 80s, found a bid, coming back to the imbalance that we just failed at. So up towards 96s, so 16-point rotation. And how they act there is then important. Do they set a lower high in this imbalance up here, or is it a straight reclaim and new highs? So they're trying to move to this 96s, this little shelf. Lots of bids still on the tape. Still above the IB, still above that seller's pain point. Okay, we're watching these 80s. That's a good rejection of 96s, but we're still not under the 80s yet to confirm anything. We can still be very bullish here if they keep holding 80s. Sellers getting absorbed here right now. So there's a heavy delta candle, and we've not moved under the 80s yet. How long have we got left? 2 minutes left of this candle. Still buyers supporting the bid down here. It's a battle. It's a big battle here. They know if they can hold the 80s, they've got room for a chance to move higher again. What we're currently seeing is these sellers here are trying to aggressively break underneath this 80, and they are not doing it. There is passive buying here, absorbing the tape, trying to get the break back out above the 97s. All right, so like we said, 80s to 97s is the rotation for control right now. Buyers are still in control right now. They're absolutely in control right now. Have I opened positions today? Yes, and I've posted the profit on the stream, and I've shown you, and I've talked about it. Lots of things. If you come in here late, that's on you. I don't understand how that affects you, though. If you're here late, whether I've made money or not, how is that going to affect the future of your trading? Okay, here comes the break. So 80's held, still no short position, and a squeeze is on here. They're back above the 97s now. They're leaving imbalances. Very, very aggressive buyers now coming in. Like I said, there is no short until you break down beneath the 80s. All right, sellers are stuck right now at 80s. And this looks like it wants more. And there is liquidity in the top of this grey box. I'm just going to make sure I get this marked out well, very accurately. There we go. Right, that is the level. That is the level where all the stops are. ES divergence, yeah, but it's still holding that 170 level on ES. It's still holding the PDC. It has swept some liquidity, yes, but it has a bit more to go if it wants to do it. Yeah, there is divergence here because tech's the one that's been pushing this morning, but they're both holding above the initial balance right now. There is still liquidity higher if they want to sweep higher. Like I said, that seller, we can maybe even see it here. Right, these guys are stuck. It's in here, the 80s. There's absorption taking place in here so far. All right, aggressive selling, move to buying, came back, held this pivot. Right, they're still stuck. 80 is the level. 80 is the level from, I don't know when it would have been. It would have been in here that you can't see it on TradingView as well. It was at 1035, 1035. Yeah, in here. In here, there's a huge seller in here who's currently caught. While it makes its mind up. And I can tell you the size of him offside. Yeah, it's 110 lot at 81 and 127 lot at 80. That's the level. That is the level. So they're going to come test him again here. Their buyers are stacking at 82s. We lose 80s, it becomes interesting. So down to 80s, big buyer trying to join the tape here to try and absorb. He's being a bit too aggressive. I think we'll probably get a sweep here. We'll see. I'm going to wait to see if the 80s let go or not. I do not want to jump the gun here if I'm going to fade. Momentum's upside. I don't like that we left this liquidity like this. So this would be much better, right, if we take this and then do this and leave buyers caught here. Sweep, under, fade. That's going to be a much easier trade than leaving liquidity like this. That's going to be pretty ugly. The reason I'm saying that is we now have a lot of stops up here, don't we? All these stops up here. So I way prefer this if we break out first and then fail. We're looking for a fail breakout if we're going to play the short side. Am I going to short if we lose 180? I'm going to think about it, yeah, depending on what I see on the tape. But yes, it's potential. Like I'd say, what I prefer to see is a clear out of these highs. Buyers get stuck up here. Passive sellers sell into it. Come back underneath. Reject the 180. And then maybe look for this rotation. I'm going to have to be careful of these levels here. Like I said, I've made my money today. I don't want to force anything too much. Again, the 80s held. Look what just happened in that same level. Look at this 80s. He's still stuck. Right, big buyers just came in. They're trying to get that breakout to the upside. This is the question, like, how much patience have you got? How well can you read the tape? Can you wait? Do you understand what's going on? Support becomes resistance. Well, at the 80s, yeah, on like a micro time frame, yes. And I see what you're saying, yes. All right, back down to where this buyer just bid. 84 is where he just bid. He just added more there. to 84s again. Look at all these buyers just below. VIX stuck at 18s as well. Still holding that 84 print for now. The reason I'm saying 84 is it's where we just had a big market buy. Remember, 80s is the main level, right? Perking my interest. Here we come back down to 80s. This is important now. Are we going to do that IB failure, or are they going to just like hold this level over and over again? Still holding 80s for now. Still absorbed in there again. So no break of 80s yet. It's a good hold. Really good hold. They still want more. I think they need to clear out these highs. ES has relative weakness, though. It's under its IB with a nice wick high. It looks much better. And we have huge, like, we have relative strength on Qs. It's going to be a much harder short trade today because we're almost 0.5% up on the NQ, whereas ES is red on the day. But let's see. 80 is still the level, folks. Nothing's changed here. I know I sound like a commentator repeating. Why 80s? Because I've shown you 100 times why 80s. Because the seller's caught there. So the same reason for the other 5 times that I've shown you. The same thing. The seller is currently caught from 10:35. Right, this morning he's caught with 100 and well, probably about 200 lot delta there. So until he's comfortable, he's in pain. Repeat myself's good for you. Yeah, good. It's bad for my brain. Get out of here. Get out of here. Whoever just said that. I'm not. If you guys start saying stupid shit, I'm leaving the chat. I'm not in the mood for it today. Please. ES coming back to its VWAP. See, if ES finds a bid here on its 24-hour VWAP with the relative strength in NQ, we might see a swipe back up. And you still haven't taken this liquidity here. This is building out bullish momentum at the moment. Right, this is building out structure here at the moment, and 80s is the level. And like I said, there's lots of stops here right now for them to come and take. It'd be much easier if we do this move here if we're going to think about the short, rather than coming under here before taking these stops. That's very, very ugly. Coffee break. We can do that in a minute if you want. We can test it again like yesterday. Yalla yalla. Habibi. Here they go. They're going to go for the liquidity. So ES into its IB. Stuck between 24-hour VWAP and IB. Come on, NQ. Just please come and sweep or do something. I'd love one more trade here if we can just do something. Long. I wouldn't be long here. I wouldn't be long here. Because what you're doing, if you're trading long, you're trying to hold the 80s. But you know that this is supply. Maybe hopefully you get the stop run there. But like your RR is poor. Right? The long, like I said, I wouldn't be a new money long up here. The long opportunities were down here, weren't they? For the drive up to this. Right? We're like, trading views being a real pain at the moment. All right, was this, all right, for this drive up. Even if we squeeze higher here, maybe you're bidding on IB, but even if we squeeze higher, which is trying to do, what's your RR? Like, this is supply, remember? Even though I think we're going to stop hunt this at the top, like, is it a good level to play off? Momentum's good. Is your location good? No, your location's terrible. The momentum's good, but your location is terrible. Are the sellers trapped humans or algos? I don't know. I'm not that side of the trade. Does it matter? Does it matter whether a human clicked the button or a computer clicked the button? All right, coming back down here again. ES rejecting its initial balance there. So ES is stuck. Look at the divergence here. ES is stuck between VWAP and IB. VWAP and IB, right? This is where we're stuck on ES. Relative weakness. Much easier trade at the moment. Swept liquidity coming back in. Probably wants to come down to here. VWAP, VWAP 165. NQ, relative strength on the day. Very, very different charts. Like I said, if you're going to short NQ, you're going to really struggle today versus ES because we have strength in the market. Like we said, Amazon's up, Google's up, Meta's up. Can I fine, I'll go and get a coffee. You guys win. I'm ready for a coffee. I'll go and get a coffee. But I tell you what, how many likes have we got here on the stream? Right, I tell you what, when I come back, I want an extra 500 likes on this stream so we can do a giveaway. All right, folks? And I'm finally setting that competition live because Lucid approved an account to give away with the screen, with the monitor. So we're going to do that next month. We'll do it next month. A big competition. All right, I'll be right back. Oh my God, we've gone nowhere. We have gone nowhere. ES coming to its VWAP, like we just talked about. We're going nowhere on the NQ. We should be trying to clean out higher. Do we have comments here? Recent dominant strength could unwind if oil prices fall back in. Fitch ratings. No shit, man. These guys are intelligent people, aren't they? State the obvious. What's my thought on Microsoft earnings? I don't have a thought on them, man. I have no thought on them. I learned many, many years ago to not predict on earnings. But, I mean, they've been hammered. The company's been hammered. So, you know, we just see they've been printing back upside recently. But they're still way off the highs. Remember, we've been long. We're long in Microsoft from sort of an average of like 380 right now. Maybe they can get going again. But we just have to wait and see. How much are we off the highs still? They're still like 24% off the highs. You just don't want to predict earnings, man, because it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter if they have blowout earnings, because we can go into a sell the news event. Right. So I just don't do it. It's not my I know some people love betting on earnings. I think it's a nutso move to do. All right, ES into view up again. Still holding view up for now. We look like we're going to come and take this liquidity that I talked about. We're desperate to come and pop these stops up here by the looks about it. And then that's what's going to dictate what's next. All right. Do we clean out the stops, come back under these and these for the fail, or do we take this out and rebase and make our way all the way back to 400? Right, those are what's going to set up this afternoon into tomorrow. But really, I don't want to do anything until we've cleaned it out. If NQ doesn't clean out the stops and it fails 380, it's going to be very, very 380, 280, very difficult to trade. Right, ES failing view up. It's coming back down for that 165 gamma level. Largest call wall is 470. Let me have a look. I don't have that as the largest, but yeah, it is a call wall. The largest one we're already through. Maybe you mean the largest one above us. The largest one for 0 DTE was here. We're already through it. All right, watching these 80s again. If we start to lose these 80s, I will think about it. But at the moment, look at that. ES come right down into that 165, found a bid. The high volume node for options. Above, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, we've got them above. Where's that's your C3, yeah, 470. That's your level. If they can get there. This is your guy. This is your guy right here. This spike right here is your seller who's currently caught. I don't know if you guys are taking the piss or not. I can't tell if you're taking the piss or not. Why is 80 important? Okay. See this big seller here? Big aggressive seller here. See this guy? It's actually 2 lots. It's about 200 lots right here. See this? This is his delta. What do we have here? We absorbed. Okay. So all the time we are above this guy. Is he in pain? Yeah, he's in pain. Above him, he's in pain. Below him, he gets comfortable again. Below him, all the buyers who bought above get in pain. So we currently know we're transitioning between the two. But can we at the moment, this is why I can't teach on here, because it becomes impossible for me to do a pathing. I don't know if there's a way to do a path. Here we go. Right, we are not seeing this, are we? We're not using him in the correct manner to move lower. Buyers are using his pain to keep pushing up at the moment. That's why it's important. On top of that, it's also your initial balance. That chart on NinjaTrader, what is it? It is the specific thing you're looking at is a new flow zone indicator we're working on at the moment. It's not ready yet. So order flow indicator for NinjaTrader that we will have on sale at some point in the very near future. What's my code for Lucid FCT? Watching this now. Big sellers coming in here again. Watching this now to see if they let go or absorb again. This is the level. We know that this is the level. ES back down to its New York VWAP. So ES can find a bid right when we're in this important level at the New York VWAP. So they've timed this perfectly for ES to find a bid at the New York VWAP and New York Open, which it is as we just pulled into 280. This is why you don't jump guns. Yeah, ES holding very well there. Guess what happened at 280 there? Another 125 lot seller came in and got absorbed. Right at that level. We can see him right here. See this? This 125 lot. He just added negative delta at that level. So we need to break below him for them to be comfortable. We're not seeing that right now. I'm watching this very carefully around here. See if we can get an entry if they start to let go. ES still holding very, very well here. And I tell you what, if sellers don't get this break below, then I'm absolutely adamant we come up for this, because there's a lot of support taking place down here. Look at this. They are really supporting the bid very well here at the moment. Here we come. Here's the 80 test again. More selling coming in here again. Very strong selling coming in here, still being absorbed. Yeah, still holding that print. Can we get a breakdown here into the IB? Still they hold, still they hold, still they hold. Lots of selling, still being absorbed here. Very aggressive on the tape here, being absorbed. I think we're going to go for the highs, honestly. Don't think they're going to allow this breakdown. I'm ready for it if they do allow it, but I don't think they're going to allow it. I think they're going to go up for the highs at the moment. Back to the 80s again. More sellers at this same level again. This is our 4th time visiting it in the last 90 seconds. 5th time visiting it now. More sellers here again. Absorption again. There you go. Push back up. There is someone on the tape just holding 80s. They want that seller to stay in pain. And the negative delta there is building. It is building. I think they're going to lift this. I don't think they've got enough juice to get the break. I think they've just absorbed everyone and they're going to go straight back off, upside. God, speak properly, Alex. All right, here's the 80s again. The more we absorb here, the more I'm thinking we're going upside. 80s again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts here. Here's the 80 break, absorption straight away. Still holding the IB. We can watch the New York VWAP on ES. SPY into that level as well. So again, if they find a bid here on those, it's going to be very hard to get the breakdown here. But I'm going to get ready for it in case we start to move away from it and back test and stay heavy. Here's 77s. Let's see now. Let's see if they reject 80s on this little tap back in. All right, I feathered a little piece on here just in case, but I don't trust it one bit. So it's teeny, weeny, 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 weeny. See if we can move down to this bar at 70s. Here we go. Lovely. Okay, stop moving break even. And we'll see if we can get that flush or not down to 65s and under. Not giving it room because of what ES is doing right now. ES needs to let go of New York VWAP. So again, scalping today because my expectation is range. If we recover 80s, not doing anything with it. Because we can trap under here. Again, the big problem here, I'll remind you, is that we are right at this New York VWAP. If ES starts to find a little bid here and do one of these, we go right back upside. Okay, so we need ES to stay heavy like this. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, into the 65s, and we'll take a little partial here because I'm in scalp mode today, and we'll see if we can get down into 35s. Yee! All right, here's 65s. Patience, eh? Patience, eh? How important was that 80s? How important was that 80s? And that is the difference with reading order flow versus just reading random candles. All right, beautiful. Canadian, eh? 8. I've got all my friends here are Canadian. Okay, here we go. So there was a buy here this morning at 50s. I'll make you aware of that. There was a buy here at 50s. If we let go of 50s, I think we come back down to that 35 level. I'd like to come back down into this node here, but you can pay yourself a bit here if you want into 50s. I'm going to try and hold the rest because I took some out of 65s. I'm going to see if I can get back down. Why do I have to click everything 5 times? See if we can get back down into here. We're almost there. Here we go. Game of patience, folks. It's a game of liquidity and patience. We're paying ourselves a good chunk. Okay, don't be surprised if we come right away back up. We're in scalp mode, so we're going to scalp today. We're not looking for these giant 100, 200-point moves like I normally look for on an FOMC day. But there's the break from 80s. We've got you down to 50s. That's 30-point trade. Hopefully we come down to here. And it'll be even more. It'll be like 50-point trade, and that's pretty good going in this market, I'd say. Starting to base out a bit here. There's a bit of a wiggle, so they might lift this back up soon. If we can't get a new low here coming right now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little micro squeeze back up because they're piling in at this level at the 50s. So just be aware of that. If you haven't locked in, you want to be aware of that. Hopefully we get a breakdown, but pop through 55, you probably get a little lift. Here's the 55 check. They're testing this level. As like I said, a pop through 55, there'll probably be a lift upside. Sellers need to get a breakdown here. Here we go, new lows. Beautiful. Beautiful. Moving my stop down now to 55s. All right, I'm not going to let it above 55s. We're into a little imbalance here. We're starting to see a little bit of absorption on the tape here. I don't want to give like 30 points back in an uplift if it comes. All right, because I'm scalping my way through this like we talked about. Come on, sellers. Let's complete this move to 35s. Here's the imbalance. Here we go, folks. Here we go, folks. All right, paying a little bit more into this VWAP. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, this is our main TP. We're now taking out our main TP, so I'm down to very small size, but I might even cover it all soon if we don't fail back into inside of previous stage value area high, because they can bid here. Remember, this is a level that they can bid off. This is where we looked to trade from this node down to this node. Oh my God, we're slicing and dicing, baby. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. I'm out most of this now. I would expect some form of response here. It's the Tyson trade. Yeah, I mean, in fact, it actually is the Tyson trade. IB to VWAP. It's exactly what it is. You're right. It's not an A+, because they were dirty, dirty, dirty buggers, and they would have left this for a reason. So I'd say we'd probably come up for this later in the week. There's no way we leave these highs like this. But there we go. There's the trade. Done and dusted. W's in chat if you got that with me. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nice work, team. Yeah, nice. It was a nice trade. Nice, clean trade. Move's gone now. The move has gone now. We've had it. We've had it. We've repriced this thin level. All right, so 80s was the level where this buyer came in. Sorry, buyer came in, seller came in. He got stuck. Buyers kept using his pain, trying to get this breakout. They wanted to get this. They piled in. Once we lost 80s, there was a little wiggle down here, and we were short, and we were covering. All right, and maybe you guys have size for this move down if it wants to continue, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little reprice before we make our mind up of what's next. How long we got till lunch? We've got plenty of time, actually, to lunch. Plenty of time for lunch. So we'll see. Maybe you guys have some size to go lower, but like I said, the main chunk of the move's gone. You could think about the move towards 200 next if they want. Paying it forward, Poolside Trader. Hey, thank you, my friend. That's kind of you. Very kind of you. I'm out of bullets for that's it for me. Hey, well, if you got that one and you're out of bullets, it's not bad. It's a good job. Good job, well done. It's a good job, well done, I would say. You're seeing a response on this shelf like we expect. So a little bit of a wiggle here. And we have to see now, do they go back into previous day's value or not? All right. If not, if we protect it, then we're going to try and move value upside again. There's these next lot. Big, heavy delta down here at the lows, 27s. Lots of sellers coming in, but they're not being that aggressive down here. You just wonder, do we reprint to the New York Open? Here they come. They're trying. 18's the next level. Built out a lot of liquidity here. Some more absorption here again. Failing to break lower at the moment. They want the break lower at the moment. They're failing to get it. Tip of the hat to me, sir. Oh, thank you very much. That's kind of you. Thank you, sir. Right, here come the sellers piling in. They're trying to get down to these 20s. Here's the 20s move. Next level would be sort of 207s, and then value area low on the day would be your 192s for those of you who are still short in it. Those would be the next moves, but like I said, I would be pretty much done with it. Pretty much done with it. Starting to see some absorption down here. Look, this is because we get thick down here, right? Anyone else have that? Like, I have to click on stuff on TradingView like 5 times. Look, the trade was from here to here, right? This will now need to build out liquidity. Even if it wants to move lower, it would have to build out some liquidity and then retest this and then get that breakdown. You don't want to be a new money short down here. Okay. How are we doing for the likes, folks? Hopefully we got the likes up. For those of you who are patient enough to sit here with me today, not as many of you on right now, we're almost there. I think we need just over 50 more likes and then we'll do a giveaway. It was worth the wait though, wasn't it? It's a game of patience. Do you see? It's a game of liquidity and patience, right? It was a game of patience again. And how we act back at these levels again will become important as we come back upside. I would say if you're trading ES, you want to watch VWAP, you want to watch that New York Open. It's the same stuff over and over again. You don't see any news. Why would it? Why does it have to be news that moved it? We didn't need news to move that market. We needed liquidity, which is why we moved it. You'd thought you'd see news today. Well, there's plenty of news coming later today. Don't you worry. You just wait until 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock till sort of 5:30 today. There will be plenty for you. Plenty for you. All right, and then we're going to come and visit the 65 and then the 80. All right, and then they matter for the remainder of the day now. 65 and 80. You can see the options level 65, and then the level we faded from 80. ES into VWAP here. Into its New York VWAP. It's still got the New York Open above. So I'd say ES, you'd be watching 160s to 165 to see if they reject that or if we're just going to go sideways from that point. Again, I expect lots of liquidity to be built today. That's what they do. Do I think FOMC have an impact on NQ tomorrow? Yeah, of course. But we don't know what they're going to say. We are fairly certain they're not going to make a cut or a hike, but we don't know what's going to be said. So, again, I'm not in the game of guessing, all right? I'm not in the game of predicting or guessing. I'll give you pathings. I'll tell you what I see on a tape, but what's the point in me saying what the market's going to do tomorrow based on FOMC? What about the 4 earnings reports? Do I think those are going to have an effect? For sure. Do I know which way? No. I don't know if it's sell the news. Don't know if they have blowout earnings. Don't know if they miss. No idea. Zero idea. Not going to pretend I do know. Not one of those traders. Right, rejecting 65s for now. In front of 65s, actually. Do they come and revisit these 35s here, I guess would be the question at the moment. Yes, by the looks of it. There's a little imbalance here at 46s. So do they revisit 35s? It looks like they're going to revisit 35s. And then do they find a bid there at 35s? Right, buyers will want to hold a bid at 35s, this shelf, right? They've done a lot of work. We think about this. They've done a lot of work here, all right, to get this move away. Buyers will want to hold this to get to 65 and 80. Sellers will want to protect 65 and 80. This is the battle now. It happens between here, here, and here. If we just think about this, sellers under here are in pain. Buyers above here are in pain. This is where the battle starts, right? And this is the node of chop. All right? So we have to wait for an extreme. Oh, you absolute legend. What's this one? Regular. Can I just have that in the fridge? Yeah, I'll give you that. Thank you. Loves you. No, no laughter. Thanks, babe. Is it normal for linked accounts to not make the same amount every time? Yes. And two things will affect that. One, if you're marketing in, you will get slipped. All right. So if you're marketing in, not limiting in, the more accounts you have linked, pardon me, the more you will be slipped. All right. So if you imagine your lead account, let's say you market in long here, but the price does this. Well, it's got to fill 20 accounts. It takes your CPU a little bit of time and to go to the data center to fill those in. So you'll get slipped. Two is not all prop firms have the same cost of a round trip. All right, that's the other thing to be aware of. I don't know all the differences in the cost. They're minimal, but they will be anywhere from 50 cents to $2 difference per round trip. All right, so like, I don't know, a round trip on Lucid might be cheaper than a round trip on Funded Next. I don't know. You'd have to have a look, and that's what will cause the difference. Thanks for that 80s trade, Alex. Your order flow trading system is incredible. Thanks, man. I mean, I'll tell you the truth, and this isn't me trying to make myself sound good and important. It's completely the opposite. But the system, all this is showing you is what's taken place, right? What's already happened. Your job is to turn that into a storyline, right, of how to trade it. So for me, the storyline is this guy was trapped. I'm not thinking short until he's now in the money, and then we can think short down to the next level. That's how I create the storyline in my head. Other people might create a different storyline. That's how I try and think about the market all the time like a story, like a visual. Maybe that's why you guys like learning from me, because I can create a storyline of like, this person's in pain, da 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 da. Right, market only moves on liquidity and pain. Do you get slipped on props? I thought fills were guaranteed as a sim. The fill is guaranteed, but if you use you got to understand, if you use a market order, right? If you use a market order, right, you can still get slipped based on time, all right, from when you click to where it goes to, from your computer through to whatever prop via CME to check, one. And two, if you're trading many accounts, 30 accounts, and use a market order, it's not going to fill them all at the same time. It's just not. And in a market like NQ, where we can move, let's say it takes 3 seconds to fill 30 accounts. Well, in 3 seconds, the price difference on NQ, I mean, it could be 30 points. Not today, but like, let's say you hit a short here, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, let's see. Do I have a seconds chart on here? I might have a seconds chart. 1 second chart? Oh, I do. Okay, so let's think about 3 seconds. Right, so let's say you took a short here at 268 and it took 3 seconds to fill you, you would have got slipped a few points, right? So that's what can make a difference. Comment of the day, AB flow state. 3 seconds is a long time, Alex. Ask my girlfriend. Lebanese here from Dubai. You're a great person. Hey. Welcome, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where in Dubai are you? Can you use order flow for higher time frames? If so, why don't you? Well, I don't need them. Like, I can explain. I don't need to see where a trapped buyer or seller is on a daily chart. I can just use like big key levels. I do use them on like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and sometimes lower, 1 minute when I'm executing. But like look, I'm going to just come up here and draw this out. Let's say this is the higher time frame, right? This is like an hourly or a daily. and we open up here today, right? What are the levels of interest? Here, 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 right? I try and avoid this and wait for this. So what do I look for? Well, what I'm waiting for is for price to come into a level of interest before I'm thinking about doing anything else. So in here, I can try and relax. Once we get to these levels, now I'm looking at order flow. Now I'm looking at what price is doing, right? Now I can use Bookmap or Footprint. Now I use Bookmap or Footprint. If you watch Bookmap and Footprint on a lower time frame through all of this, I will tell you now, you'll have the fastest burnout ever, right? Because this is something that traders don't really talk about. I will tell you about it. Burnout is real. I'm burnt out this year. I'm burnt out this year. I can tell you why I'm burnt out this year. The moves this year have been massive, right? Beautiful. Thank God. Brilliant. Having one of my best years ever, even though I've had one of my hardest years off the charts, having one of my best years ever on the charts. Because volatility has been huge. But with that volatility, what does it bring? It brings a need to be very, very focused. It means a need to be very, very good with your stops, to be aggressive at the right times, to take profits at the right times, to watch order flow very, very intently. Sometimes you'll see me stare like this at the order flow because we're getting wiggly and I want to make sure I'm on the right side of it. It means we need to be aware of every little news piece. We're not just waiting for, Sleepy Joe to come, up to stand on the mic and be like, oh, I've dribbled on myself again, please help me. No, we've got the opposite. We've got someone who's willing to tweet at any point at any time, which keeps us on edge a bit. That creates burnout, right? That need to be dialed all the time creates burnout, which is why I tell you guys, get off the charts, relax. Right, look at us coming back to these 80s. Now, I'll tell you now, we have unfinished business like I talked about up here, right? So if we start reclaiming up here, we have unfinished business to take this because this really is just a pullback, isn't it? If we think about it, build liquidity, this is the pullback. We've held this. If we reclaim this node, it's a big, big if, but 80s is important. Sellers will try and defend 80s. If buyers can reclaim it, they do have unfinished business here, not just from today, from here, all right, from Wednesday last week. It is Wednesday, right? No, overnight, sorry. God. Come on, Alex. All right, so this is still possible. But you can see this 80s level is going to be very, very, very important now because this is a thick level above. All right, think about the amount of volume we've traded in here. It's probably one of the biggest levels of the day. Currently, buyers are stuck in here. All right, so sellers are defending it and you're going to see it pull back into some of these. All right, this can be your first. If they didn't get the short we wanted, this can be the sell if they can get continuation down here. It's going to be a battle here, folks. I've talked about it already. It is going to be a battle in this zone. Buyers will want to reclaim and squeeze. Sellers will want to defend and get a breakdown back down here. That's the battle. Why am I unwilling to really participate so much now? Well, mainly because it's FOMC and we've made money. Why force is where my head goes. Why force? What position did I play in rugby? I was a 12, mate. I actually started my career as a 7. And then I started my career very young. I'm talking about schoolboy, 10, 11. Started as a 7, then I moved to a 9, then I moved to a 10, then I played 10 and 15 for a long time, and then I probably grew a bit more than some of the other guys at my age group, and I moved to a 12 because I liked the physicality. So especially if we had a smaller 10, if an 8 used to run at me, I would absolutely eat him up. And that's where I used to play. Turn this away. Still have ears. Yeah, well, like I said, I played at 12. I wasn't a proper hooker, so you only get dodgy ears if you're front row or second row, really. Otherwise, you won't really get dodgy ears. Cauliflower ears you're talking about. Your learning curve cost you 450k, man. That is a lot of money to spend on a learning curve. I hope you're okay.
hopefully your net is like 4.5 mil or something. How many trades have I taken today? I think it was 3. I think I got a piece of this. We wanted this short off the open, but Bookmap went down. So I think everyone in chat got that, and I didn't because Bookmap went down. I refused to trade blind. So I traded this. I traded this pop up here down to here. So that was trade 1. Trade 2 was the reclaim, which was like one of these moves. That was trade 2. I think I might have had 2 little nibbles at that. And then trade 3 was here. Was this down? All right, that was it. If I'd managed to hold this long, like I said, I'm not a great range trader. I'm very aware of that about myself. Like, our positioning long was really good here. If I'd been as good as you guys, right, then we could have captured 150 points there. Maybe some of you guys did. I am not great at trading range. I'm just not. Like, it's not my strength. It is just not my strength, and I'm okay with that. Blindside 8 and flanker was a lot of strength. Yeah, well, I had quite a few friends that are paying for playing there. So I'm good friends with James Haskell. And yeah, I mean, James's body's in absolute pieces from playing up. Like, obviously very senior, but like he's now a DJ, and hopefully his body can recover from it. Hi Alex, a question. Why, if I'm getting tick data as well, do I see bigger wick form candles in your chart than mine? Are you on MNQ or NQ? Whoa, look at that. What's going on here? Look at Bookmap. Whoa, 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 whoa. 165 rejection ES. We are getting wonky here. We are getting wonky on the tape. Very wonky on the tape. EU to raise funding target for EU bonds for January to June to 10 billion. Trump pressuring Iran to surrender. That all just dropped in the last minute. Not seeing anything else. Maybe it's that EU news. Maybe it's just someone stuck. Bid straight back up to it. So, like, I'll take you over to Bookmap. You can see the same importance here. Right here. All right, 180s. Buyers got caught up top side. Look, 80 lot, was it? 81 lot, top side into 180s, into 290s. Breakdown of 180s. Flush under 180s. Right back to the 280s. Come on, Alex, you idiot. Back to the 280s. So you can see this is the same level. Right, just zoom out. Think about these guys. Where did they get stuck? Right, the buyers got caught up here earlier. The break we took was once we broke down under this. All right, there's the break. There's a nice trade we get. Woo, nice easy slide, right? Momentum. Woo. Trap sellers at the lows. Let's think about what happens at the lows. Sellers get caught down here at the lows, all right? Then we rebid upside to where? To where we sold from. Okay, so the bid back upside, back to where we sold from. But now, we now have a little bit of buyers caught up at these 290s. We're holding pretty well here. It's still holding pretty good. And if, it's a big if they can do another one of these blocks, right, where's it clips? If we can build out liquidity here for a bit, I think we come and pop and sweep all this out. It's a big ask, but that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. Which, if we make sense of that, would look like this, wouldn't it? If they can do it. Okay. If they can't do it, it's going to look like this. Somewhere back down into these again. And if they get the extension, it'd be like a quasi down here. I'm not convinced of that because of this level being left the way it's been left. I think we probably come back for it at some point. Should I still hold your buys? Well, I don't know where you're long from, my friend. It's really hard when you guys say that because I never know what your position long is. If you're long from down here, then I would have paid myself a bit into 80s and I'd be holding for the break of this sort of 315 now. If you're long from up here, it's not a very good long position. But at the moment, it looks good for this drive. I think we're going to take this out. I think they're going to, it's going to get choppy up here because we know it chops in this zone, right? So we might chop here for a while, but they're going to try and lift it. That's definitely what they want to try and do. Whether they can do it or not's another thing. Long from 2748. 48. Yeah, you're great. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's a great pullback and hold. Yeah, so pay yourself a bit into the 80s, and then you can move your stop break even now and just try and see if you can get your next target here into the high, and then you can think about this guy here and value area high up here. And if you got really lucky, 400s. Why am I saying 400s? Because if we base above on the hourly, right? If we base above, resistance, 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 resistance becomes support. If we base above, you have a shot at this move up to 420. All right. So you want to take partial into this and then try and hold in case it does it. And just know, I would be very skeptical holding into FOMC as you get closer to that if you're going to try and hold all day. What part of Austin I'm moving to? No idea. I've not been there with my wife yet. So this will be our first visit. She's never been before. I've been before. So we are, we'll do the usual. We'd probably go paddle boarding. So she loves water sports, so we're going to check out like the rivers and lakes and stuff. We will do Terry Blacks. We'll probably go to the mothership. We'll do all the fun stuff. And then if she enjoys it, we'll have a more serious look around. I mean, I've got a lot of friends there. Lake Travis, yeah. Some of you have emailed me where to check out. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you where some of my buddies have told me to go and it will also depend, we will probably, realistically, we'll probably need to live southeast of Austin so that we're close to the airport. Just for work circumstances. Where did Jay tell me to go? We're going to go to equipment room. Or here nor there, or nor here nor there, or here nor there. And also the surf club, because she's a surfer, so we'll have to check that place out as well. Right, how are we doing on the likes here, folks? Are we up? We are at 1,000. Fantastic. Well done, team. I only had to ask once today. That's good. Normal service resumed from you lot. All right, just be careful as we get closer into lunch here. Let's get a giveaway for you guys. You know the deal. FCT, always get you your best deal on all your prop firms other than Take Profit. All right, Take Profit Trader, use code FlowZone. Just type it once in chat. No need to spam, right? If you spam, it automatically pulls you out. So please don't spam. You don't need to do it. Why don't I show Ninja instead of TradingView? Because it's slow AF. No offense. Why TradingView? Pierce, you're a really good teacher. Because, all right, a few reasons. Because the gamma levels I have are on TradingView. One, right? My ability to teach and draw and move between charts quickly is way quicker on way quicker on TradingView. So I can't. You will see I'm very clunky when I move to NinjaTrader. Like I can trade fast and execute my hotkeys, but I cannot teach very well on TradingView. It's not built. Like even the pathing, the drawing, all of it. It's great for execution. It's not good for teaching for me, and that's why. Even things when we look, like even things like this, when I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the mag. How are we doing on the mag? Let's look at everything. We don't have a watch list. We can't even get data for this stuff on NinjaTrader. All right, so horses for courses. For execution, NinjaTrader all day long. But for teaching, no. It's way harder for me. That's why. California sucks. Those guys who've been here. I mean, I absolutely love it here, but major issues, man. Major issues. How do you copy trade in TradingView? You need a trade copier. I don't know what the best ones are for TradingView, but affordable indicators is what I use. But I execute in NinjaTrader. Yeah, all these firms you're saying are good. Guys, I've talked about it before. They're all good. Like Quant Tower, fantastic. Like all of them are really good. It's you just got to find one that works for you, whatever you're comfortable with. I love NinjaTrader. That's what I use. How much is Tanuki Gex indicator? I don't know what it is actually. I don't know how much. I just paid for it for a year. I don't know what the pricing is at the moment. I think the pricing went up, but like one of the advantages, A, in stream, but B, in Discord, right? We post all the levels for all of them every morning. So everything gets posted every morning. What I'm looking for, the news events gets posted every morning, all right? And then there are traders in here live helping each other each day. Oh, who's just taking another payout? Let's go. Who's that? Dino. Nice work, man. Let's go. Look at these guys. Jay passing. Joe back. Passed my first TPT account today. Nice, Joe. I love it. Great community. Why not Tradeify? Well, NinjaTrader own Tradeify, and I think that execution, I don't like being web-based. I like trading on my PC and having all my tools there. So I think the tools are better on NinjaTrader. It's just more professional. It's a more professional piece of equipment. Can you copy trade on NinjaTrader? Yes, you need a trade copier. Like I said, I use affordable indicators. I don't use deep charts, so I can't tell you. Right, let's pull a winner. I'm sure they're very good. All these things you're saying, I'm sure they're really good, folks. I just don't use them. It's really simple. I can only tell you that TradingView and NinjaTrader are good because I don't use anything else. I'm an old man stuck in my ways. All right, let's pull the winner. 3, 2, 1. Dean Bouvier. Did I say that right? Dean Bouvier. 8529. Are you here, Dean? Are you here, Dean? Lucky day. Hey, Dean. Nice, man. All right. You know the deal. Send me an email, info@flowzonetrader.com. And I will sort you out with the code for Apex. You can have any size account you want. All you got to do is send me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube so I can see that it's you. I strongly suggest you subscribe to this weekly newsletter. You get it once a week, so no spam at all in there, and it gives you a more solid ground. Yeah, that goes out every Saturday. I spend a lot of time building that on a Friday after the close. But it gives you the key levels, what the targets are, when we'd be risk off, when we'd be risk on, all the news to be aware of coming for the week. At least I do my best to deliver it. I'm a one-man band, but I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people that get that now. How do you subscribe? If you go to the link, which is pinned to the top of chat, click on the Linktree, there'll be a newsletter page. Click on that and just put your email on. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm with my first funded accounts, 350k accounts, nearly make the puffer. I think you made buffer of all 52k on all accounts, around 51k. Do you think that orb strategy compares with your order flow is profitable today? Where was the orb? I mean, you probably took a few losses on the orb to start the day. Depends how you're trading the orb. Are you trading the midpoint out or are you trading the break? There's your opening range. If you took the first break, you lost. I would say if you waited, all right, for VWAP alignment, you held the midpoint. This trade here was money, right? If you're going to keep it real simple, I'm going to pull everything off. I'm going to draw this on and pull everything else off, all right? This is how simple you can keep trading, right? That's your opening range. Okay, you probably pulled back 50% after breaking the opening range. There you go. There's your 50% pullback. So there's the opening range break. There's your 2-leg 50% pullback. So you're either buying that, risking the other side of the range, looking for a 2-to-1, or you're waiting for a re-break of the opening range and a break of New York VWAP and 24-hour VWAP. So New York VWAP and 24-hour VWAP, and then you're playing long here, probably risking the mid, again, looking for that extension, which you got.
So I'd say those are the two trades. If you're an opening range trader, if you took that first break, you lost. But if you took the midpoint after a 2-leg, or the second break with alignment of VWAP, you look good, right? Very simple way of trading. Like, this is what I mean. Like, when you start, keep things simple. Maybe you only trade the initial balance and you took the IB to VWAP, the Tyson trade as we call it. Great. There's your trade. Starting to build liquidity here, folks. They're trying to get this move. They're desperate to get this move. They are desperate to run all these stops here. Is there any way to replace Nightbot? It's not been selected to me. Well, we can do a different type of giveaway soon. We can try something else. I trade during work, so it's hard to focus, but every time I get to listen, I learn something new. Learning patience from you has been a game changer. That's also awesome, Pablo. If you had to summarize your strategy, you trade SBR, RBS, and high volume lows along with order flow. Yeah, I mean, I would just say yes. I trade breakouts, breakout retests, and fail breakouts, and I use volume and order flow for my confirmation. I mean, it's just different ways in saying it. Even this, really, if you think about this, resistance, support, there's your breakout. We don't trade the retest on it because I think we've got liquidity to come up for. All right, so it just depends how you want to say it. Maybe you bought this. What would this be? It's BSNR, right? Resistance, 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 resistance became support, confirmed by volume, confirmed by value, confirmed by VWAP, confirmed by order flow. But really, all right, it's an RBS. Yeah, I guess. I don't know how I'd describe it. There's a million ways to describe it. I trade momentum, really. I trade the momentum in front of me. But I'm not trading bear flag and bull flag only. I'm really trading higher time frame. How much do I trade? How much do I make a year trading ballpark? Day trading or with my bigger accounts? On my swing of accounts, I'm not always, but in years like this, like well into 6 figures. Patience has been a big thing for me. I immediately noticed that I'm impatient. Yeah, it's a huge thing for most traders. Can you tell me what that indicator is? Which one, buddy? This one? It's the Flow Zone Pro. It's a lot going on, but it has all the key levels. So it's all your daily all your previous day levels, all your previous week levels, your opening range levels, your initial balance levels, your momentum clouds, your deep pullback clouds, and I mean, I've pulled out the deep pullback clouds to make it a bit more easily visible. Your high time frame and low time frame algo clouds, the box at the top, your Globex, your opening range, your IB. I think I said that all. Could we get short here? I mean, I wouldn't be short here right now. Look, you're back above the 80s, right? You're poking into this, but like we're back in this node. Like I said, I think there's unfinished business up here right now. ES is like looking better for the short, but you would need to see failures here. You'd need to see a backside here to come down. I'm not convinced right now. I think these stops here and here look fairly ripe to be taken at the moment. It all depends whether they can do it before POW comes to market, I would say. At the moment, that's the big thing. When I connect my prop account to NT, the price chart shows delayed data. Really? I don't know how to solve that. I would speak to your prop firm. It should not do that. Flow Zone Cloud is different. No, this is the Flow Zone Pro. This is it. This is the Pro. The one that comes with the course just doesn't have Globex. It doesn't have opening range. It doesn't have previous week levels, and it doesn't have the repaint candles, which I've taken off. But like for a newer trader, where are my repaint candles? For a newer trader, you could do this, right? So repaint. So all the time it's blue and green, you're not shorting. Once we go red, you can think about shorting. Blue and green, we're not shorting. These are based on momentum, right? So this is great for traders who fight trend. All right, so if you're trying to short here, well, the candle's blue. We're in a buy. Candle's or green or whatever. Right, don't try and short there. Look where it goes red, where Alex takes the short at 80. Okay, I don't need these on because I can see it. Even this is a pullback, but now we reclaim. It's telling you momentum's trying to grind up and do this. If we fail back under here, it will go red for that move. But that's the difference between the pro system and not. Is really stuff like that. If I take these off, you see, back to normal. How do you enable order flow on TradingView? Is it a custom indicator? Again, there's a free video on my YouTube to do that. It's not an indicator. It's a you would need the premium account. You need the premium account, and it is up here, right? Volume footprint. So the type of bar you have, volume footprint, but you'll need a premium account. Again, there's a free video on my YouTube teaches you everything on that, how to get it. Here comes the fails. Oh my days. Same as before. Wow. And straight back up. Look at this. The chop. The chop before FOMC. Don't get caught in the chop, folks. What did I say? If we fail here, we come back down to here. All right, but there's nothing backside, and that happens in 1 second. Straight down, straight back up. These are FOMC days. Why I try not to trade it too much. How much is the course? It's $699 if you just want to do the 20-hour course, which comes with a version of the indicator, and it also comes with Discord access for life. An extra $300 or $399 gets you the volume and order flow course. If you get it as a bundle, it's $299. That will have you ready, set, and ready to trade. That will give you everything you need. How do you get the indicator for TradingView? Well, you can buy, if you want the pro one, you can buy it on my website, flowzonetrader.com. If you want the free one, you just do the 20-hour course. That's a big stop run here, folks. That's a mega, mega, mega stop run. Let me have a look. I think this is fairly typical of like sort of FOMC days and positioning, to be quite honest. Pentagon will form a command for drone warfare. Trump, this is 7 minutes ago, will not lift the naval blockade without a deal that includes the nuclear program. That's old news though. Do I own Rolexes? I do. They're not my favorite watch though. Well, I have asked my old man for a Ghost at the moment. But I have a nice collection. I have bimetal Datejust. I have Tudor Pelagos 39. I have IWC Engineer. I have No Time to Die Omega. I have Planet Ocean Seamaster. What is it? 600 or whatever it is. Yeah, I have a decent. I have an issue. I have an issue. I'm actually more of an Amiga guy because my grandfather, the reason I got into them is my grandfather left me an Amiga. I have his Amiga as well, which is a solid gold DeVille, like a old one. Fan of Pateks, not for me. You wouldn't catch me wearing one. I think they're amazing watches. I'd be so worried about one. What is this fucking selling? Jeez. This is like serious selling on the tape all of a sudden. They're dumping it before lunch. Trying to see if there's anything going on here. Trump rejects Iran's offer. There you go. That'll do it. That'll do it. Trump rejects Iran's offer. That'll do it. Well, this was the move we were kind of looking for as our last target earlier. So you have to see how they act into previous day value area high now, really. Into here in VWAP. Are they actually going to sell this off back down, or do we just go straight back into range? So are they now going to extend this down into here and below, or are we going back into this? That's the question now that you need to pose. This is a very strong, aggressive sell, very quick on news. We can go straight back up if they're willing, but I would watch the retest of sort of 35 to 40 here.
to see if they resell it. There is an imbalance all the way back up to 60, but we'll see here. They're starting to resell that. I will hop in here if we're going to stay heavy. Here's value area low on the session again. I've just missed that sell into 25s. If momentum comes in and stays heavy, I'll try and join this. All this move back down to this grey box. If we break that grey box, we can run all these stops and come lower. Again, we want to be very careful here. It can be a second leg down here. This area here is important. All right, if we reject this, I'll look for this move. If we reclaim this, I will not trade it. I will just ignore the whole thing. So here comes the pop back up. We're watching here and then... Really? Ninja Trader just fired an error message saying Lucid's gone down. Great. I'm watching this pop up towards, from where we are now, towards 50. That's a good rejection there. All right. Let's see. Got a little piece on here. Let's see. Move my stop in to the money early. This is what we just looked for. Not going to let it come back above 34s. If it comes above 34s, then I think we visit 50. But we did just trap a few buys here. We did see absorption at 200s or 204s. So I'm just going to scout my way through this. Into an imbalance here. They're starting to hold this imbalance. I need to see a break under 18s. Otherwise, I'm going to take this off. Here we go. Come on. Fucking do it for me. Give me one beautiful trade to end the day. Come on. Stay heavy here. Let's go, baby. All right. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go 205s and under now. Beautiful. All right. This is what we're just talking about. I'm paying myself a little bit into this New York Open. Just in case. And I need to stay heavy versus 21s now. Ideally, we stay heavy versus 17, 18s. Getting close. I'm moving my stop aggressively here. I don't want to get caught in a wash back up the other way. All right, I'm going to risk 21s. Taking me out already on the runners. Reason being is that was the level that we fight over. We'll probably get the Alex trade here, but that's fine. I've just locked in a chunk more change in this. Big battle down here now. This was the trade we wanted. I might be a bit early, but we just talked about this down to here. This is what we're seeing start to develop. It's just getting very tight in here right now. It's a big level here. You don't want it to do this. This is what I'm worried about. This is why I took it off. Above here, they can rip straight back up and reprice these. Yeah, glad I'm done with that. We're getting nude and whippy, and we've had a good day, so we're not going to give back. I just traded an Apex PA on that one. Added a bit more juice to what we had earlier. Just seeing what news is circulating here. Give me a second. You're 2 minutes into lunch as well. Oil prices rise following Trump's rejection of Iran proposal. Trump would consider military action if Iran does not act. US CENTCOM has prepared for a short wave of strikes on Iran. Oh my God. Well, look, what a day. What a day to announce that. Let's announce that on FOMC day. With Max 7 earnings. Oh, they're getting stuck up here. I can't trade this. It's too nasty on the tape here. ES hit previous day low, by the way, and took the liquidity out. 710's key on SPY, like we talked about this morning, same level. So we took liquidity at the lows, same level on SPY. What news stream do I use? Financial Juice. Financial Juice. Here's the lift back up. This is the low volume node. Sellers will want to protect this. Failing to protect this will be a problem for them. This is where they need to protect. Right here, they want this to fail. If they can't, you're going to see this lift straight back up. Because this can be a 2-leg. They can still build this out. They've still left these stops up here, which is nasty on NQ. And divergence is massive to ES again. What's this guy here? Just trying to see where these players might get stuck for you at these lows. Yeah, 250, 253 looks like a big level. Here, this looks like a big level. 250, 253. You're in the low volume node. Sellers want to defend 250, 253. Failing to do that, I think you come right back up to this seller who caught this huge flush. Right at that New York Open right now. Sellers rejecting that low volume node for now. As long as they stay heavy versus 250 to 253, they've got a chance for a breakdown. Failing to do that, though, and we're right back at previous day's value area high, failing to protect this level will cause that lift back up. So these are kind of the zones that you're watching right now. Can we just buy the volume and order flow course? Yeah, you can just buy that course. That's fine. You can just buy that course if you want to do that course. You just don't get access to Discord, that's all. But you can just buy that course, absolutely. Lots of people do that. All right, here's the 250 to 250. What did I say it was? 253 check. This is it. If you go back inside of this, they probably squeeze right the way back up to where you just came from. And remember, ES swept the lows, swept previous day lows. So again, seeing major divergence here with relative strength in the Qs. Okay, through the 50s, so you probably see a lift back towards 80s if they can get through this little imbalance that they're in at the moment. We just tagged into that first imbalance there. Wishy-washy. Wishy-washy. And you're into lunch as well. Just so you've got a heads up here, you're into lunch. Crude is moving? Yeah, I mean, I expect it is moving on that news. 106.31s right now. I can't imagine big money guys trading 100 plus lots in this environment. Now that's stress free. I mean, they've definitely been trading that size. Most firms don't allow trading for FOMC. A lot of the firms do. I think the ones that won't is like Take Profit Trader and we're not in FOMC yet. It's later. It's 2 and 2:30, and they normally allow it 1 minute to 5 minutes after the news, right? So you could probably trade the speech or just after the speech starts, but you'd have to check each firm. Each firm has different rules. Take Profit Trader, you definitely can't during the news breaking. Alex, I'm going through your YouTube videos trying to find one with your Ninja order flow footprint chart set up. Do you have such a video? No, I don't, because we haven't launched it yet. Do you have any videos to get better entries? Since I learned how to set the levels needed and showed respect over time, but my entries stuck. I either enter late or a caught and choppy range. I think the best thing to do with that is just experience, mate. You got to decide what you're doing. Like, are you a dip? Are you buying dips versus structure, or are you buying breakouts for new highs? You got to define that first. What type of trade are you? Are you trading the breakdown of a trade, or are you trading like a dip back in that hold structure, risking this coming back? There's two different ways to trade. So if you don't know which one you're doing, you're going to get caught. Hands down the best teacher trader on YouTube. Thanks, Alex. You're welcome, man. Is 20k net enough to get a 4k Rolex chat? Yeah. Of course it is. Whether you want to spend that money on that is up to you. Do you have to be out 159? I can't get back in until 201. You'd have to check the news on TPT. Again, I don't trade news anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. You'd have to trade the news. I don't know if it's 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. You'd have to check. They would have emailed you this morning with the rules. Have I always traded momentum? No. No, I would say. I used to be much more focused on mean reversion from my small cap days. So really then what you're really trading is exhaustion, the opposite of momentum. It's momentum dying. Is what you're trading. How do I determine value area high, value area low? I don't. The volume determines it by 70% of traded volume. Or if you're using a TPO, 70% of traded time. Alex, will your new NT footprint indicator include current bump be included? No, it would be completely separate, mate. It would be completely separate, I'm afraid. We will make a new bundle for it and we will give members like a discount like we always do, but it will be separate. If you were to restart your journey, would you make the same path or jump past mean reversion to what your strategy is now? It's a really good question. That's such a great question. We're revisiting this seller, by the way, where we sold from. Here we go. So back through these 50s, we're coming to revisit this seller at 71, this big lot. That's a really good question. I would say I wish I learned structure before anything else. This might sound mental to you guys who have started in the futures world, but I started more like small cap mid world, and I learned like standard deviations, overextensions, and really using SMAs as well, EMAs and SMAs. There was no structure. No one's really talking about, and it's probably still, I don't know if any of you are still in some of those rooms. Look, that seller's still stuck up there. They're using his pain. If any of you are still in those rooms, I bet they don't really talk about structure. They talk about backside as like under VWAP or under a trend line. They don't really use structure, which I find mad. I reckon if I went back to small cap world, I could absolutely murk it. And I've been thinking about it a lot recently. Hasn't been the best provider for the last few years, but I think it's starting to heat up again. You agree? You started in small caps, yeah. I mean, small cap world. We're like, what are we talking about? Like, you know, you got your scanner running. You're like, oh, it's up 200% on the day, and then you're like, oh, what's the dilution? Yeah, it's a really shit company. Okay, where did it last pop to? Let's pretend this is a daily chart. Okay, we've got bag holders here, so we're looking for 20+% extension into at least these names, and then we're like short into this, looking for mean reversion back down. Bollocks! Like now, I reckon I could go back to it and like look at it so differently. Like I know car is not a small cap, but if we talk about this the same way, right? I couldn't believe the amount of people I saw trying to short this, but I know why. All right, because the way they're taught, the same way, because they're looking left and they're like, all right, bag holders are here, we're getting short there, and then they're going here and they're going, bag holders are here, we're getting short here, bag holders are here, we're getting short, bag holders are... No, look at the hourly. Zero reason. This was your first, well, actually, this tried to provide a first red day, but this day here was the first day where we had a gap. All right, and this is the first day where we had blowout volume. This day here was the biggest volume day before the sell. That was the sell point. It was actually 720. It was up here. Why? It's 720. All right. So if everyone had just stuck to structure, right, they wouldn't have been trying to short this on the way up when we've gone consolidation, breakdown, higher low, squeeze out again. So like, to answer your question, if I was to go back, I'd really be focused on structure and volume. That would be like, if we do this on here, let's go from the breakout point. Let's go from this low, in fact. All right, let's just do this. All right, where did it get thin? It got really thin up here. If we look at the volume on these days, right, what was the first day it had big volume, big buy volume? right, was this one, right? This is a very slow, low volume. This is your first big buy volume day. There you go. This day here is the first notable day. Look, 100% more volume than the day before. This was the day I said it would be crowded. This is your small cap trade. This is what? Fail breakout. Trap buyers. When did that happen? It happened in the first drive of the day, the opening drive, where all retail went, yeah, we're going to go to new highs, right? No, you're going to get shit on, right? There you go. Fail breakout above the pre-market high right here, okay? So that's your first red day setup, and that's the bleed. So if you were just willing to understand structure first, it would have kept you out all the bullshit guessing those highs. And we're finally getting a bit of a bid today. And I don't think it will. And that's off earnings. And earnings was terrible, but, you know, shorts need to cover. So we're finally seeing a bit of a bid. But yeah, I would learn, structure would be the first thing I'd learn. I think there will be a day in the not too distant future where I start being active again in that world. I think there's way more edge in that world, I'll be honest. Way more edge, especially once you understand. The problem is that as a momentum and someone that likes to read the tape, you got to understand there's more games there. It's not centralized exchange. It is not centralized exchange. There's videos for free on my YouTube on structure, and there's lots of videos in the course on structure. What's better, futures, NQ, or CFDs? Futures, hands down. It's not even close. CFDs is not centralized, so. What is a small cap? It's a company with probably say a float of like under 100. Yeah, 100 million or under, probably. Or we'd have to see what they define it as nowadays, but it's something with a small float, all right? A small float. Why does that matter? Small floats can be more volatile. Why? Because there's less shares available to trade. Spread, sorry, not margin. What are you saying there, Scotty one? Even if did I miss the first question? All I can see is even if the margin is 2x as much. Sorry, spread, not margin. Even if the spread's 2x as much as what? I'm just waiting for you to reply. Sorry, my friend. I know what you mean by the spread, but what are you comparing it to? 2x as much as what? I'm in the UK on futures. The spread on futures is 2 points on futures and 0.8 on cash on CFD. Spread is not 2 points on futures, mate. It is 1 to 2 ticks. All right? It doesn't matter where in the world you are. It is 1 to 2 ticks. All right? You can see it even up here. Look, this is the spread. It's 1 to 2 ticks. The only time it would ever even be 2 points would be on a major news like move where it could really open up, all right, or like maybe overnight. But otherwise, look, it's like 1 to 2 ticks. On ES, it would be even tighter spread. ES is the most traded index in the world. It'd be even tighter spread. It's never more than that. Got like definitely not. Do I recommend warrior trading? I don't badmouth traders on here. I've never done his course. I can't tell you. But I do know I used to be the other side of the trade to him. So your brokers are terrible. Well, it's centralized exchange, so they shouldn't be nicking points off you, mate. Should be able to be dash. He should be able to go direct into it. Am I interested in single stock futures? JD, I am. Yes, I am going to be very interested in them, especially in the ones with big volatility. So your Teslas, that is going to perk my interest as like a daily cash cow. What's your opinion for ICT strategy? ICT is not a strategy, it's a way of learning the market, so don't have an opinion on it. I think he has some, probably teaches you some good stuff, and I think there's a lot of bullshit in there as well. When you were trading small cap, I think you were not using Bookmap. Did you introduce it later in your career? No, I was using Bookmap. I was using Bookmap in the small cap world. But the problem is, again, the problem is with Bookmap in small cap world is it's not centralized. You will not see all the orders. Do I have a code for Bookmap? Yeah, FlowZone20. I don't trade currency futures, no. I don't trade FX. I don't, yeah, dark pools, exactly. I don't trade FX at all. It's just not my thing, man. Just join the stream. If the answer is go back, that's fair. But are you going to be active for FOMC? I'm not, bud. I'll be in my Discord. I'll pop in and in the Discord, but I'm not. Would you trade the pool for single stocks or a cash account? For me, cash, and I trade single stocks and I use a cash account. But for you guys, if you're new to trading, trade the pool's fantastic place to start. All right, prop firm for stocks, where you can like pay minimal amounts and learn. A great place to start. What's your opinion on polymarket as hedging or in general? I just don't have one. I've never done stuff like that. But you know, you can see I'm sure you've read the headlines recently. You see that special forces operator in America made 400 grand out placing a bet of when America would move into Venezuela because he was part of the team doing it. It's just ripe for insider trading, isn't it? It's absolutely ripe. If you can bet on anything, like even look at Alex, the guy the trader who ran on to the Super Bowl final. There was a big, I'm not saying it was him, it was a very big bet placed that someone would run on as a fan onto the Super Bowl. Someone made a lot of money that day. He got to promote an FX firm or whatever he did. And if a buddy of him bet on it, they made a lot of money. Do you think you can live off prop firms only? In general, can you? Yes, but you need to know that these probably won't last forever. So like I always talk about, again, I'm not a financial advisor. This big fail of those 80s now. Not a financial advisor, but you would want to be rolling that money into something that could generate you cash because this won't last forever. So learn to trade, move it into day trading accounts of, single stocks, equities, move it into swing accounts so it's passive. Not a financial advisor, that's what I would be doing. Need one more day of 150 to secure $2,500 payout. Thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it. Nice, man. Congrats. He said it was him. Did he actually? I mean, that's what I mean. How can that's not against Alex. Like, how can we do that? How can we do that? How can we allow these things to happen? How can we allow these things to happen? Potential trade down here. I've probably missed it while I was talking, folks. It was the same level. It's the 280s fail, right? So there's the big fail into that same level. All right, and they're trying to get down into here. Just be careful. You're in lunch. You're in range. You're in value for the day. Really depends. Are they going to take their profits into FOMC? Do they dive it down and then bid it back up on FOMC? I have no idea. They like to play games on these days. This is why I try and avoid these days and just lock in some money like we have today. I can tell you've checked out, made your money, and now just chatting. That's it. I've fully checked out. I've fully checked out. Otherwise, I probably would have been thinking about reselling this and covering some here. All right, so Gamma, Cool Wall, 280s is where they got stuck. Big fail, reprice, resold. TPs here, TPs, TPs, TPs. These are the extensions, but pay yourself into these nodes. Definitely don't get short down here. The only next short you'd need a break under and a rejection. But yeah, I have, as you've rightly identified, I've fully checked out and I'm just having a little chat with you lot at the moment. Where can the big guys make the most money? When you mean a big guy, are you talking about a hedge fund or are you talking about an individual trader? Yeah, the code for Bookmap, I said it, flow zone 20. That's the code for Bookmap, flow zone 20. Tagged you in your daily X post, Alex. I'm sure you get a chuckle. Oh, I'll have a read in that in a minute. Nice one, buddy. There was a guy who bet the temperature would be a certain high, and he went out and found the thermometer they used for the bet and used a heat gun or something to. Is that true? This is what I mean. Like, we are. Do you know what I found funny is I saw the interview where they questioned Trump on the special forces guy, and they were like, what do you think about this? And he's like, the world has become a casino. I'm not for it. I'm just saying. I'm like, you and your cronies have made as much. Everyone's like, oh, he's so good because he hasn't taken a wage. You don't need to take a fucking wage when you're betting on oil going up and down. Let's face it. And like, it's not just him. It's fucking everyone. He's right. It is a casino now. That's how it is now. The world is a casino now. We've made everything bettable. I have a payout that was approved on Apex on the 20th. Still hasn't changed to pay. I'm about 100 from blowing the PA count. Will it still be paid or no? No, it won't. If you've used the money and they haven't paid you, it won't be, which is bullshit. They should have paid you for that. But yeah, if you've blown it, no. Have I ever gone on tilt? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Of course. I'm human. Absolutely. It's more rare for me nowadays, but it will happen. I kill it on demo, but I struggle on fun. Let me put these messages here so I can see a bit more. Look, you might get this breakdown here, folks. They're trying to get this flush. So the next pop, what you want to be careful of, if you guys have been short here, and then I'll get through this. If you've been short here, you want to be covering. This is the same as we talked about here. If they sell this node, they protect this and they build out, they'll be looking for that move for your runners. Right, just be careful though, because you're into the edge of this range. You can see sellers have struggled down here, so you need them to get that if you're going to get any more of this. Let me get this chat up. How do I get it up on this screen? Where are you guys? Here you are. What was the last question? I missed that. He made 32K, the phone guy. Oh, wow. If a CEO went on TV and lied to the public about their company, they would be sued. They do it all the time, though, mate. Grant, they do it all the time. They go on CBS all the time and lie. They do it all the time. They're not going to go on and be like, "Hey, yeah, our company's in bad shape. We're going to pull an offering." They don't. But the whole you have to understand, like, the whole premise of how everything works is bullshit and fugazi, right? Why do you think we have these press releases in the morning from pre-market before the open, right? It's so these companies can create liquidity to sell into. It happens every day. Don't think it doesn't. It happens every single day. Every single day there is some sales or press release. And the other thing they do now, they pay these massive discords, not guys like me. I'm saying discords with hundreds of thousands of people in, just like they used to like pump the newsletters out back in the day. Now they have the discords or the TikTok. You see these ones being like, I don't know, girl with her boobs out. The next AMC short squeeze is, make up a ticker, DOD, it's going to go 1,000,000% soon. Make sure you buy it now. All right. And now that we don't have, right, the PDT rule, you're going to get 18-year-olds being like, buy, 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 like Pepe, right? And then what you're going to see? You're going to see the guys that own it be like, fuck yeah, we got the liquidity at the market offering. See you later. Stock's down 500 million%. Right? It's the nature of the beast. It's always been that. I promise you, this is not like about Trump or anyone else. This is the nature of the beast. It has always been that way. You're starting to see this low volume node reject here. If we start to wash lower, you will get a breakdown here. So hopefully for you guys that are short, you get this move underneath this and back down to previous day point of control should be your target if you can get the extension on this. I'm just watching. I can see these sellers trying to do it. It's getting very tight here. They're trying to get this flush down to 200 and below. Lost the chat. No, I know you believe me. That's not directed at you. I'm just trying show my passion so that you guys understand it. That's why I said about the PDT rule. I think it could be like problematic. I mean, let's have a look at the runners today. I'll give you an example because some of you guys might have never traded stuff like this. So let's just have a look at what the runners are today. All right, RDAC. Let's have a look at this. RDAC. Okay, here's RDAC today. All right, here's your runner. Here's your new pump of the day. So this is what small cap traders, all right, will be looking at today. They'll be short up here looking for this mean reversion back in. Now, if we have a look at the dilution on this, so this is currently up 220% on the day. To a 5-minute chart, you can see we're starting to roll over, and they will look for this to give back. They will not want this to hold VWAP into lunch. This is like your fairly typical move. They will look for this to give the whole thing back. Now, if we look at the news on RDAC, right, here we go. Rising Dragon Acquisition Corp. Right, already I'm like, that's probably a Chinese name. Straight away from the name. Is a blank check company. It was formed on the purpose of entering into a merger, share exchange, acquisition, asset acquisition, share price, recapitalization, reorganization, and small businesses combined with one or more. Company was founded on March 8th. Headquarters, China. All right, scam. Scam stock, 100% scam stock. Get out of it. You know it straight away. Some muggins, though, all right, some poor little muggins has seen this being up 200% on their brand new, I don't know, Robinhood account, or whatever it is. And they've gone in with their savings that they've made from working at McDonald's, and they're about to get fucking wrecked because they don't understand it. This is the game. Now, I guarantee you they came out with some press release this morning saying that they've changed the world. They always do these lot. Oh, we've changed the world. We've cured cancer, or we've done this, or blah, blah, blah. It's always the same game. Same game, folks. All right, what is the float on this? 22% insider owned. Market cap, like I said, short, anything under 100 million. 94 million. It's perfect. This is your perfect scam stock. Right, that's your scam stock. I guarantee you, all the guys I used to trade with are up fucking huge on this right now. They would have just waited for it to clean this out, and they'd be short on it with some serious fucking size. They'll be covering some here, and they will look for an all-day fade. They will want it through lunch to not reclaim VWAP, and they will be looking for an all-day fade now. This is a perfect example. This is just one stock. This is what the world has become now. This is it. It's what the world's become, in my mind. Signed a deal with Amazon. Did they actually say that, or are you just joking? But does it have borrows? Yeah, I mean, that would be the thing. I'm sure if you're trading with like IB or any of those guys, Trade Zero, I'm sure there are borrows. Probably bloody expensive. But yeah, I mean, this is Ross pumping. Right, and this is Nate and Duck shorting, right? That's the move. Ross, Nate and Stephen Ducks, right? Ross, Nate and Stephen Ducks. That's the two sides of the trade because they know it's a tradable asset. That's it. That's it. And whoever put out the news in the pump room got that move to push up, right? Is it a good time to buy Hood? Well, they just dunked on earnings, didn't they? I'm going to get out of here in a minute, folks. I've been here too long. I mean, it doesn't look too good at the moment, buddy. This is the block that we're interested in. This is where we first bought, sold some. Doesn't look too good at the moment. Was a miss on earnings. We'll see. If this market starts cracking on a sell the news event, you have to understand, right? You have to understand if you are a big bullish player in Hood, we can come right back in. All right, we can come right back into these levels. All right, so if they start to lose the bid here, we can come right back in. I wouldn't be bidding on your first red day on earnings, right? Definitely not. I would say wait till Friday, Monday next week. Let's see how we react the next few days because it's important. It's had the big squeeze up for the relief. It's done the move. We come right back downside now. Thoughts on car? I already went over car, bud. It's a little bid today off earnings, but you know, I would just leave it alone for now. I think the volume will be really poor. Little bit off this structure, this low volume node. I'd watch. You're looking for the reshort, right? Or are you looking for, I'd watch these levels here. 188. The hardest thing is going to go more and more low volume. That is nowhere near. That's such a big move. It can't figure it out. Hang on. 50s. Yeah, I'd watch 188s and I'd watch 250, 300s. But you got to know now, like last time it took months, right? This took months to develop, right? Eventually relief, and then that was the resale opportunity, and then ranged for like a year before they broke down. We can do the same, all right? We can do this for a long time. I think there's probably better traders out, like as in not people, there's better trades out there than trying to trade this for a while. You're going to get thin. It's going to thin out here. The volume's gone. You're going to get back into these kind of things again. And the spread, I'm sure the spread's massive. All right, there's your move. Oh, you got it while I was doing all that talking. Well done, folks. There's your move. All right, so you should cover some into this. Like I said, if they pop this and fail, we'll come back down into this. There's your cover. And anything beyond this is a bonus at this point. Nice work, folks. I missed that while I was talking, but we just talked about that, didn't we? Pop back into here, fading down to this block. All right, and anything now is an extension. You can think about I below 100s, previous day value, and maybe even 27,000 even. But you need pops to fail, and you're in lunch. But that was a really nice move. Did any of you get that? Hopefully some of you got it. All right, Alex, pass my evals. I'm up 502 accounts. Have a good day. Nice, man. You caught it, John? Nice. Yeah, lots of you got it. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. How do I draw the grey boxes? They're just based on volume, mate. Based on previous day or current week or previous week volume. Strong selling here. They're trying to get this breakdown through all runners. Alex, with the crazy price action you mentioned recently, I'm struggling to get 50Ks across the line just using micros. What's your recommendation and experience for passing 50K micros? You should be able to do it. I mean, you've got the range there to do it. And the volatility's there. If we start to tighten up on volatility, then you can think about adding more size as if the ATR starts to tighten up. But if you look at VIX, I mean, VIX is absolutely shoving up to 19s right now. Like the volatility is there. If you took this short, you're up 100 points. If you took this short, you're up 50 plus points. I mean, it's there. You shouldn't be trying to do it in one day. Should I buy the bounce? Well, there isn't a bounce yet. So what bounce? What bounce? All right, folks. I think that's it. We can do the other giveaway. I know you guys were asking for it. I saw a few guys in chat. All right. So just type course once into chat. We'll give away a 2-hour beginner course. Good for someone who's never ever traded before. While you do that, I'll clean up my emails. Kevin, I just replied to you if you're still on stream. Just added you in now. All right, let's pull this winner. Jamie Schoolfield. Jamie Schoolfield, are you here, my friend? Hopefully you get this breakdown to the IB low for you guys, for your runners. Looks good. I should have traded this instead of just talking with you guys. It was a nice move, some really nice moves over lunch. Jamie Schoolfield, let me know you're here in chat, my friend. There you are, good. All right, just send me an email, info@flowzonetrader.com. Send me a screenshot of you logged into your YouTube, and we will sort you out with a free introduction course. It's only 2 hours long. Just a short little course. All right, team. Really nice work. Big selling at these lows. Another 250 lot piling in sell side at these lows. They are looking to really try and force this down at the moment. Where are they trying to break down to? They're trying to come and test this 140s at the moment. So you've left, before I go, right, you've got very strong selling down here. You can see they rejected the 77s. If you lift 77s, they can reprice back to value, back to 200. So if you're sell side, you should have paid you some, and you're looking for a breakdown back towards the low of day. All right, do not, right, give the whole thing back towards 200. You'll be very upset if you haven't paid yourself anything down here. Sun's out, guns out. Yeah, sun's always out here. All right, team, I'll see you back tomorrow morning. Please be safe during FOMC. All right, your temptation to gamble and do stuff will start to pick up as it gets volatile. You don't need to do it. All right, you've had some nice moves today. You can just come back tomorrow. If something's really clean during FOMC, sure, but know that you're trading against news algos. They will react to the words said quicker than you can. All right, so just be aware of that. Your job is to preserve capital. If you've made money, ask yourself, do I need to be here later? Do I really need to be here later? Or can I let everyone else get stuck and come and trade the reaction tomorrow once FOMC and once the earnings are out the way? All right. Peace and love, everyone. Use hard stops. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Same as always, 9:15 all the way into lunch. And we'll chat then. Trade safe.